something. We gotta do it now.
I'll take care of this!
Just hit.
You guys! Suck it! You! No, you! No, you! No, you! You! No, you! Fucking mothers! Hey, I leveled up a godstone! Oh, I'm dead. Fuck!
What's going on, everyone? Council's Corner. We're live again tonight. That was Captain Kickass generously giving us a fun clip to start the show off with. God, that guy's a character. I don't know if any of you have played with him, but he makes the game a lot of fun being around him when he's going crazy. He's super helpful and probably one of the better members of the community. What's up? I'm Kitty, speaking of great members of the community. Yeah, we've got a fun little show. Really, all we're going to do is talk about what we've been doing this week, which is the Ilysia public alpha number 2, or not public, but the alpha 2. Kind of what all we've gone through with it, where we think it's at, what we hope it is. Yeah, it'll be fun.
Hey, what's up? It's Bonely. Good to see you guys. Excited to talk about Ilysia. And do remember, this Sunday is the last day to sign up for the racing. So get your sign up on if you want to race with us in Dash Dash World. And I look forward to a great show.
Hey, I'm Sir Maldo. Also really looking forward to racing. That Dash Dash World is a whole heck of a lot of fun. And looking forward to talking about Ilysia too.
Hey guys, it's MetaQuest here. I'm gonna be talking about the Ilysia Alpha. I think I've made it further than every other fool on this panel at the moment, so we'll be having a good old talk about that and some of this Dash Dash World. But that's more Bonely and Sormado's forte. They definitely will wipe the floor with me anytime I race them, except for this last time. I got you. Looking forward to having a good night.
Budo here. Yeah, looking forward to the conversation. It's been fun to play a game that's not like just fully public. To me, that's almost like something I would have dreamed about as a kid, like feeling like I'm testing a game. So that's fun. And it sounds like I got to get Dash Dash as well. So I'll be getting on that.
And he looks so excited about it.
I'm like, how long is the camera on me?
Oh, man.
Yeah, sorry, I hit the wrong button like 3 times.
So how'd you guys get your keys?
The keys.
I think I might have been the first one to get keyed, or did Kitty get it first? No.
I was the first.
Yeah.
I got it like 5 minutes before it went live. I was actually joking with Bonely because I don't know. I don't remember why we were talking about it, but I was like, I'm going to try to get a key for it. I bet I can get a key.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, I just got a key. You better catch up. And then like 3 seconds later, they dropped a key and I managed to grab it and then hopped in. And then I'm like, no, seriously, I got a key.
Yeah, I was like, you gotta be kidding me, man.
And that's right. You said that, and then I was like, oh, that's all you got to do? So I was literally just doing chores and had my Discord up on my computer and just kept looking at it. And they're like, oh, we're going to drop one soon. I'm like, oh, really? And then the code popped up, and then people in the chat kept saying stuff, and so it kept moving up. So I was like, oh, no, I'm going to copy. And then I got it, and I thought there was no way I was going to get it first, but then I did. That was fun. It was fun to feel like I kind of won something. I don't know.
That's great. I was just pitied so hard for being so sad. I don't know why I got mine, but I almost feel like I shouldn't say the Discord name for the person who gave it to me. They were so secretive, just out of nowhere. Just here's a Discord. I mean, here's a game key. There was no context to the message. It was just a game key. I'm really happy I knew what it was. I was just like, "Thank you." You're like, "No problem, man." Okay.
Yeah. And what were you saying on the Discord to get them to be sad? Like,
Man.
how sad
So
were you? What were you talking about?
So I was saying I will if it is a so I asked the admin for the Discord straight up to the admin. I was like, "Am I allowed to buy? Are we allowed to buy alpha keys? Are people allowed to sell them, or are those not supposed to be transferable?" And they were like, "We don't encourage it, but we can't stop you." I think is exactly what they said. And I was like, "You heard that, boys? It's open season. Offer in Daenerys over here. Come over." And then Fink was like, "I will gladly do this as well." And so I was like, to everyone out there, I am very happy to publicly say that I would happily, unethically purchase your game keys. But I got a free one, so I'm happy about it.
Nice. Well, the first when you guys were getting it, yeah, I was talking to Kitty about it. Then he's like, "Oh, I got one in like 2 seconds." I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me!" So I jumped on there and I'm looking at things. I was on that stupid thing all damn night and could not get a key. And I'm like, "This is just total bullshit." I'm like, I'm just never gonna get this thing." So I wake up in the morning and luckily I opened up the Mage portal first and I had my shit ready. And then I just looked on the Discord real quick, and the bottom line was a code. I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me!" I just copied it, pasted it. I'm like, "What?" Like this, it's totally random. I'm like, "You got it." It was right there as the bottom one, and I just scooped it real quick. I'm like, "Up, early bird," and I wrote in, "Early bird catches the worm," and got it. And it was at 8:45 Eastern time, so 5:45 Western time.
On like a Saturday. I was asleep for several hours beyond that. I woke up, saw you got that. I was like, "This is bullshit."
Yeah,
You guys made it all look so easy.
Right.
No, super early in the morning, I remember seeing Kitty like commenting about how the alpha was going live today, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice." And then he was like, "And I have a key," and I was like, "You fucker!" It's like, "Oh fuck, I don't have a key." I was like, "I hope everyone else doesn't have one, or I'll just be sad, lonely me over here." I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna get one." And then all of a sudden, Budo got one. Not only did Budo get one, he left out of his story. He got one. He was the one who got the one I tried to get.
Yeah.
I was in the Discord like, "Oh, so we're gonna post one," and this guy was like, "Yeah, in 5 seconds," and Budo comes out of nowhere. And he literally typed, he goes, "Yoinks." And I was like, I was trying to read so fast, someone else commented, they're like, "Oh, someone got it before you, man." I was like, "Who?" I looked up, I was like, "My own guildmate." He just came in and underhanded, just stole it.
I was also pitied like you were, Meta. Somebody from our guild gave me a key. But
That's so funny. That was funny.
Oh,
So yeah, so I feel like we should talk about just what we think was good, what we really liked about the game. I know Meta is the highest level, so maybe he should speak on it.
you could have stopped after highest.
Hey, respect the authority.
Oh, hold on, guys.
Um,
Kier just messaged me in Discord. Am I late? Yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking late. This is recorded and will be posted to YouTube. And then forever, for all time, I want it to be known. Yes, Kier, you're late.
I
Of
don't know
course,
if
he
I'll
can
be
jump
in
on
tonight.
though. Who cares? Jump on, get him on.
I'm trying.
Do you
That's
see the
funny.
sign? It says "on air."
As long as you make
better
a
get in the
good
chat.
entrance. Yeah. He makes a
Yeah.
good
But so
entrance
yeah,
the first
so
time.
Ilysia. Okay, so I mean, if we want to just like start from the top, from when we log in, I I had one of the best experiences in a game that I've had when I logged in, but that's not really to credit Ilysia personally. It's not that the game's not great. it's that my first experience logging in, and I now know from playing the game more because it's so spread out with the beta and the size of the map, you don't really run into people a lot like you do in Zenith, because it's also an alpha. So when I first came in, I heard Budo's voice. I didn't realize how lucky I had to have been to have logged in at the same time he did when trying to start up the game. We were still in the ship. I didn't even know what the outside world looked like yet. And I was like, Budo, we got clubs. PvP is a feature. Turn it on. Let's go.
And we were like jumping around, just jumping around, just clubbing each other. And it was like for 5 minutes. We're like,
Budo's start to the game must have been so interesting because he died in the first graveyard is past where you learn all through all the tutorials that you read in the ship. So he spawned in a graveyard. No idea what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
What was that like, Budo?
It was fun, actually. It was like, oh, what? Where am I? What happens with, like, I had no idea about everything. I saw a few of the little, like, beginning tutorials of, like, how to move, but then I was, it was confusing and disorienting, but it was awesome. It was just fun. It was a lot of fun. It was as simple as the clubbing mechanism is. It was fun, being able to do that with somebody that you've been playing with on another game.
I was talking to actually Kier when I was telling him this quick story, and so for everyone out there, if you've played GoldenEye on the N64, it was like you were just down to hand chops. That's the style we were going at because we were doing like no damage to each other. A little level 1 with clubs, jumping up and down, trying to dodge each other. Neither of us have ever played this game before. We're both terrible. Oh man,
that's fun.
Anyways, what was your guys' first experience in the game?
So my first experience, 10 seconds after it dropped and I downloaded it and put in that fancy key. My first experience was pandemonium. There was like 10 people trying to club fucking rats. Everyone was talking, and right away I was like, they got to figure out how to do chat the way Zenith's doing it. Because like everyone is in your head. It's almost like when you switch over to party chat and you just have no clue where people are. Like one of the things we're going to talk about all that shit later. Anyways, there's, everyone in my head. I'm trying to figure out how to talk to the quest giver.
Oh, yeah.
Orbis and everything else, you kind of wave and it pops up and I'm like waving at him, looking like a jackass. Like, come on, do something. And then finally I realized the thing, who knows how long it was open. Like to the left, just a little bit. There's a whole thing right there. And I'm like, cool. All right. So we're clubbing rats. Good. Makes sense. But my first criticism of the game entirely is the sound those rats make. Just the tinging, like someone. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're all making a face like.
Didn't bug me.
No. Kitty knows that this is fine to bring up because when we went past the ship, when we learned how to jet ski, which. Yes, but when we were just going past the ship at the starting area, and I heard that sound again, and I was like, Kitty, is that the sound the rats make? Is that the mobs making that sound? He's like, yeah, the rats make that sound. And I was like, for the longest time, I thought my audio in the game was just messed up. Like, it sounds like bad, like static, like bad audio. Like, why would you make that the sound for those mobs? It's the first thing you hear when you log in the game. Just click, 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 click. But it's like a techno sound. Ah, it hurts my ears.
And so people are going crazy. They're like immediately getting better, and I'm still sitting there trying to like I'm holding the club and I'm still using the grip because I don't understand the mechanics, and I'm like, I just want this to feel right. I'm going to the settings, trying to redo everything. There's a settings for hand angle that doesn't work, doesn't change anything. I'm in world chat, like asking questions and all this stuff, only to find out days later there's no world chat. It's just your own self talking to yourself for 6 hours. Like, man, no one uses this. And then So finally I get out and I'm go to grab the bow, and like I see like 4 guys over there like shooting rats, doing a great job. And I'm like plinking it, like getting nowhere. Like, how does any of this work? Like after I know it, it's intuitive. It makes sense. But dude, trying to figure this stuff out was rough. It was rough early on. And then luckily there was someone there. They're like, oh yeah, this was in the alpha. I did this already. We did this. And so they're kind of walking us through everything. And so yeah. And then I think I immediately died trying to kill turtles or tokas. Whatever one of the first ones you do. I like go up to it, hit it with a club, and I was dead. So then you're in the graveyard trying to figure that out. And yeah, so my first entrance into it was just absolute pandemonium. It was so much fun jumping into Realm 1 and just having so many people going crazy. It's what I've been hoping for the rest of the game, but I think I've ran into like 2 people that weren't you guys since then.
I run into the same like small crowd. Like I know like five or so other people outside the guild in the game, and I also see those people in the Ilysia Discord in the alpha section. Like the people who are active in there are relatively the same people, it seems like. Other than that, you really only seem to run into people in like the starting area. Like if you go to Abermore or you go to Tambria, like those 2 areas, you'll run into random people starting the game, but you usually don't see them like in the higher level zones. And the higher level zones that you guys usually don't like chilling because I'm a higher level. You really don't run into a ton of people you haven't seen before. I kind of know the squad. There's a gnome. Let's see. There's Lionheart. Let's see. Oh, I'm gonna forget people. There's Chizzy and Chips. That's about the people that I feel like I've run into. You've probably run into them too. There's not a ton of people later in the game.
Yeah.
Unknown. I've run into that guy at least 20 times. And every time I laugh at his name because I'm like, oh shit, the thing's messed up. And I go, wait, no, that's unknown. I keep thinking like, the game's glitched and can't figure out what the username is. And
so when I got on, the first thing I thought of
is Lionheart.
what's it called? When I first jumped on, the first thing I thought of was that the first day of Zenith, right? When you jumped on the first day of Zenith, there was like a zillion people out there, like what you said, Kitty, but times like, there was like 40, 50 people. Everybody was running. It was insane. And I'm like, how the hell are all these people going to fit on this boat if this is where we start? It's such a small little space there. Like if everybody's spawning there to start, like day 1 is going to be insane in that boat. Like it's going to be just totally crowded. I'm like, why wouldn't they start you in a bigger space? Like,
well, no, it doesn't matter because you could hear everyone from everywhere in the game. Your headset must have been insane without spatial audio. Like everyone in the zone. Like, well, how did you hear anything?
And so that first area, it's like the ship and the bows, and that's about as far as it goes. But it was like, it's just 20. Well, it was probably like 10 people. I don't know.
But it's still,
and everyone's talking at once, and everyone's asking the same stupid questions, and none of us know anything. But oh, dude, it was. Oh yeah, day 1 is gonna be. It's gonna be crazy, and that's gonna be all day because people will be getting home from work and school and whatever else. Day 1 will be fun.
I think they should find a different space to start the game. It should be a bigger space because that ship is not. That's going to be absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I think they want the big reveal. Zenith did something similar. There's that moment for people who haven't been in a large like virtual space when you pop out the top of the ship and you look around. And I think the game is extremely hindered at that moment, unlike Zenith, because they choose an absolute draw distance. So like Zenith will have really crappy textures far away from you, but you can still kind of see far away from you. With everything just going instantly to like nothing past a certain draw distance in Ilysia, it really takes away from what should be a really cool experience when you pop out from the ship below. So
Absolutely.
Zenith did something similar when you turn the corner at the city when you're leaving the city area after you get out from whatever the underground area is called, and you kind of see like the fractured plains for the first time and like the whole map opens up. But see, it works there because you can see further. I think it was a missed opportunity. I hope they fix it for the launch.
Mhm.
So I
Lionheart
think
says
Oh.
there's a stretch goal that they met for multiple starting zones. So maybe they'll have different zones for different races or
Oh, that'd be cool.
classes or something, professions. I don't know.
Didn't WoW do that? That's one of the
Mhm.
very few things I know about WoW.
Yeah, so WoW starts off, and depending on the race you choose, it starts you in a different area, which is cool, and it's good because then, like Bonley's talking about, you get that population spread across. Except, in a computer on a flat MMO, every 12-year-old chooses the first thing with boobs that are exposed, and so they're all the same race and the same women, like night elf women and WoW and.
I 100% believe this to be true. I've never seen it. I 100% believe it.
I mean, dude, it's just join any MMO and all the young guys are always whatever has the biggest boobs.
This explains a lot.
And I mean, even me, every single character I've ever done is female. I do.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's because I don't want to stare at a dude's butt 12 hours a day when I'm playing an MMO. Not that staring at a cartoon woman is any better, but
Wait. But this doesn't have a third-person camera like a 2D
Yeah, like-
game. You're
I
not
know.
staring at your back.
Do you remember one of our
He's
first
talented, I think.
conversations in Zenith? Because you were like, "Oh, you're a guy," and I was like, "Yeah, I'm a guy." And you're like, "Why are you a
probably
female
have.
character?" And I was like, "Because I always do female characters in MMOs." And I was like, "I don't want to look at a dude's butt all day." And you're like,
Okay,
"But you
cool.
don't see your butt."
Yeah.
I was like, "I realize that now." So my Blade Master is a dude,
Oh my god.
but I don't know. It's just always that initial, and I'm sure there's that out of body experience when someone talks to me the first time, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" But but yeah. So WoW had different start-in zones for different races. Lionheart chimed in something else. I thought he chimed in something else. No. And
But
so,
yeah.
My man on the spot.
but so it would be cool, and there's some things they could separate with between whatever race you choose, or if they have some kind of what game is it where you choose kind of I don't know, your hero's journey or something like that, and it starts you in a different area. Is it Skyrim?
No, Skyrim does have different starting areas, but it does have different.
Maybe it was ESO. Elder Scrolls Online might have done it. But you kind of choose what you want to do with your life, and it starts you in a different area. So, if you want to be a paladin or a healer, it starts you in a religious zone. And if you want to be a warrior, it starts you off in like a fort or someplace to, learn to be military. Someone joined the stream. Who is this?
There he is.
I was late. Work got the best of me, but I'm here.
You're 2 for 3 right now.
So how did you get your key, Kier? That's the first thing we were talking about. How did you get yours?
Well, I was on Discord, and Fink, somebody else in our guild, Dr. Fink, one of the other leaders, he said that he would have a week's worth of play time and had a lot of free time to play. And a key dropped. He miraculously got it. And a second one dropped. And I also miraculously got that key. And so me and Fink just got a key back to back, and we went after it.
Yeah. I remember thinking like, oh, I hope the other two guild leaders get a key. And then all of a sudden I know Fink's like, no worries, Netta. Actually, we both got one. I was like, how the fuck you both get? Okay, cool. Sweet. I don't have to worry about that. No guilt here. I was going to feel guilty if like you guys didn't guild.
You're literally the only one that pandered for one. You're the only one that pandered for it.
Hey,
Everyone else has got one.
I kept saying we have one guy who doesn't have one. Don't make one man beat the guy out. I can't help him. Someone here help him. But anyways, I think that William in the chat had a really good question, if we can get to that, about the actual gameplay mechanics. So I have to say, I went into it, and my very first thought is I hate the movement because of the flying in Zenith. Then I played many more hours of it. And then I went back to Zenith without, playing it in between playing Ilysia. And I was instantly like, oh, I don't know now. I kind of like Ilysia's movement. Like, I don't like that I gave up flying, but at the same time, it almost feels necessary if they make the game feel good. Because Zenith doesn't utilize any of their water spaces or anything. It feels like Ilysia has a better chance to do that, but also your character actually moves quicker, and there's like ability points you can use to make your character move quicker, jump higher, which is nice. And so, like, at this point, because I have that stuff unlocked, and I got back in Zenith, I realized I'm actually moved quicker. I had more freedom of movement in Ilysia than I did in Zenith once I got down the mechanics. The only thing you have to really deal with is you're not going to get upward momentum. It's not going to happen. But that's not supposed to be a thing in Zenith either. It just is.
And as far as the combat, I like it that you can choose multiple weapons. That's just a big thing to me after being stuck with one weapon in Zenith. So, and I like there is slight variety to, like, it's not much right now, but yeah, the bow and arrow and getting to pull the bow and arrow.
Oh yeah,
that's good.
Yeah.
So
even if you spec into like the arcane class, you got your staff or your wand on one side, and you got a sword on the other side, or you got a bow over here. You're doing dual ranged, or you're doing ranged and physical combat. It's a lot of fun.
Or you got the shield, and I think they.
And when it comes to movement, you're also going to get mounts someday, and it's looking like on their roadmap we're going to have flying mounts. So who knows what that upward downward trajectory is going to be like based on further updates.
It would make a lot of sense that they didn't make the flying as all-encompassing as Zenith did if they're going to really implement the mounts, because that'll make the flying mounts and everything a lot more worth having if that gives you that mobility in the air that you're looking for just from yourself. So that makes sense.
So William makes a really good point here, where he's talking about giving up control of encounters. This is something we really experienced in WoW. I believe it was Burning Crusade, where you suddenly have this new zone where you can fly in 3D space. So every encounter at that point, they design around a way that, if you're going to be able to come from above, it needs to be able to attack and do that from above. So one thing that we all do, we are all guilty of it in Ilysia, is those chieftains. What do? You fly to the roof.
Oh, you
go
guys
to the hole in the roof.
Things. I see people do this and I get salty. I'm like, you're ruining your gameplay experience. Why are you even playing, man? Just sit there.
You were the one who taught me to do it. I don't even want to hear you.
Do it, but I told you straight up that I personally didn't. I said to each their own, but I'm gonna let you know this is an option.
So I didn't do it on the first two. The last one, I was just like, I just want to get this done. I don't want to wait for a group. So I did jump up there and cheese it. But that's kind of the thing they give up when they let you fly. They're giving up the option to force you. But also, when they put a big hole in the roof of the boss you've got to fight, what do you expect people are going to do? You got to set things up for the lowest common denominator. The people that are going to laze their way through it.
Here's one of the issues I had with the combat in that game was that it was either too easy to cheese. You could either step back and step forward for most of the combat where you wouldn't get hit once and you could kill anything, or the enemy was way too overpowered, because the moment I hit one of those archer guys, he was able to shoot an arrow every second and a half
don't do that.
super accurately for half of my health. So it's like, oh, sorry, I was able to cheat the whole way up and I wasn't prepared for real combat, and now you're going to give me somebody who's overpowered who's going to kill me in 2 shots.
Yeah, I soloed the second boss dungeon earlier today. It took me like fucking hour and a half. But anyways, so that's a room full of like 8 like Toka chieftains who have like the fireball thing, and also a giant crab that has the fireball and an AoE spell. and has just a stupid amount of health, and a giant pit of lava in the middle of it that if you hit, you pretty much die, and a bunch of fire things that come out of the floor that damage you. It's like impossible to stay alive. Still beat that. Archers still take me out any day. Those guys need to be nerfed. they shoot way too accurately, way too quickly for way too. Like
Yes,
you get
thank
four
you.
of them
Thank
on your
you
tail. Four level 6 archers will take out my level 19 ass any day, and if I don't like kill them quickly.
And these are all meant to be group quests, right?
Oh, they're
Yeah.
meant to be.
Killing
you have the
archers? I
enemies
don't
that
think
are
that was a
great.
group
That's
quest.
where I think
Not
the cheating
not the
comes in.
archers, but
If you
the
try
stuff
to
we
solo
choose.
it, of course you're gonna try to cheese it, but like when it comes to a group quest, like bringing up, like let's just say Hogger. In the very beginning of WoW Vanilla, they gave you a bot underline called Hogger. If you ran into him on accident, you were gonna get slaughtered. No matter what you tried to do, no matter what your class was, healer, tank, DPS, doesn't matter. And so when it says group quest, I feel like they mean it, and that's only going to
Yes,
get more
they do.
implemented. They really
So-
mean you need a group to do this. Go find people. Don't just try to solo this, or find a way to cheese it if you want to do it by yourself.
So I really
Um,
feel like the gameplay, like the combat, is very different in early game than late game. Early game shows you how easy it can be with the mechanics that are there. Late game, they're like, okay, now you know the mechanics. You know how to beat one enemy. Now there's 13 that are coming at you. And some of them are ranged and some of them aren't. And some of them move really fast. So even if you can back up so that their attack animation is sped up, like I should actually record our elementals. Those guys move really fast. There's no out sprinting them when they're charging you.
and
And
I
then they
feel
do a
like
lot of
that.
damage.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, you're
I
good.
totally
You're
did,
good.
but I
You're
didn't
good.
mean to.
No, you're
I feel like that combat mechanic that combat mechanic that
Insult
bothers
taken.
Sormaldo, because you can. They come up to hit you, they pause, you can move back. I feel like that's a mechanic that's important in a VR game because you're in a 3D space, you're having to watch. At a certain point, you're going to have multiple enemies. If you're a healer, you're having to pay attention to your group's health levels. So I feel like when you're one-on-one, it's cheesy and silly. But like Meta's talking about, as soon as you get into these group dynamic parts, which every MMO, I mean, it's about being a group. That mechanic that was stupid early on, you really have to have it. Because in a flat MMO, you're able to see their casting. You're able to see they're about to do something. But in this, you don't really have that kind of warning. You don't. You have to go more off of a visual, like situational awareness, as opposed to being able to actually, see the entire battlefield. And so I think those mechanics. Again, I agree with you on that. It felt very boring early on. But even now, and I think I'm level 7, maybe 6. I'm not very high level yet. I feel like it's already getting to a point where, man, y'all are distracting me with the chat. where it's gonna be better. And I know one thread I had seen them talking about was improving like the AI mechanics and how they what were they calling it, leash onto you, because right now you can break that leash really easy, and if you don't break the leash, they'll find you 30 kilometers away. So
so early today, before I had to spend an hour and a half soloing the second boss dungeon, the dungeon boss, my bad. I was trying to do it with a party of 2 other guys I like teamed up with on the main Ilysia Discord. And we were in the boss chamber, and we were struggling to get his health down before he kept killing all 3 of us. And then finally, we started getting his health down, and he de-aggroes and his health completely instantly resets. It's not like Zenith where they start getting their health back, instantly resets. And so I don't think you realize how much health this dude has. We had spent 20 minutes getting a third of his health down, and then it reset. Then it did it again after we got half his health down, which took us almost like 28 minutes, like almost half an hour. I was pissed.
That's an MMO. That's why it's a group quest.
The
That's
the
why you need
aggro
healers and a
no, but we
tank
were in the
and
boss
several
chamber.
DPS.
The aggro he de-aggroes too easily, and because you should be able to go throughout the whole chamber without him de-aggroing, just like the Zenith World boss. I should have to leave the room for him to de-aggro for me.
I agree. You know
And
what they did really well is I think that they got the wand spell casting so much better than Orbis had it. Oh my god, they improved on that. They took the concept of what Orbis was doing and they made it so much more fluent and easy and comfortable to use to where you still have to have some skill in doing it, but it's not as torturous as the way
Not
Orbis had set theirs up.
it's not like a technical skills like 6-month program degree you have to get
Right,
and like Orbis
exactly.
casting. No, it's
Right.
just like you need some
you
somewhat
got to go to
fine hand
wizard school.
skills, like motor functions, consistent shapes. Can we all do a consistent circle? Yes. Awesome.
I couldn't
Now
get the
we
ball
can
in the cast for like 4 out of 5 times. It
so
wouldn't cast for
PSA,
me.
quick PSA from someone who's played a lot of this game. So I hear a lot of people say this. I struggled with it a lot too until I saw other players doing it, and I realized what the problem is. So this whatever kind of server or whatever they're doing this on can't handle much traffic at all. I've kind of noticed, and so there's a lot of input delay on their side and our side. So as a result, when you're drawing that shape, to you it looks like you're drawing a perfect circle. But to other players, you ever see people drawing triangles and you're like, why the fuck are you drawing a triangle? It's because that's what the game thinks they're doing because you're drawing the circle too fast. Slow
Slow
down
cast.
and it'll
Slow
fix the problem.
cast. Whenever that's one of the things I realized pretty quickly is, when you've got 3 or 4 enemies on you and you're trying to cast really quick, none of them are successful. And I'm like, what's going on? And when I'm just being lazy and I'm like, everything's going. And I
Yeah.
realized, like you're saying, you see the shapes they're drawing. Even though they're doing a circle, sometimes you'll see 2 straight lines back and forth.
Yep.
And so it's all about how your client is communicating with the server. And they're doing it the exact opposite of the way Zenith does it. So in Zenith, everything exists on your application, and then
We
it
talked
tells the
about this.
server what it's doing. In Ilysia, the server is doing all the actions, and it's telling you what it's got. So that's why we're losing weapons. It's why we're desyncing and falling off airships. It's why you're falling through the map multiple times, is because the game goes, no, you're right here, even though your client is somewhere else.
Yep.
But
I'm gonna shut
sorry,
up.
go ahead. No, I'll shut up.
I just have a horrible problem with interrupting. Y'all can tell me to shut the fuck up. It's fine. No, I was gonna say. So we talked a lot on one of our last streams about how, being on client side, and you were the one talking about it, Kitty. And it was, you see the mobs freeze, and then all the damage catches up. Well, what if that happens to you? I can tell you what happens to you because I've had it happen twice. You die. You die. You start hitting enemies. You're like, these enemies aren't taking damage, and they're not moving, but I'm moving. And then I had never seen that happen in a game before. And then I think it was Lionheart. I was playing with Lionheart. And he goes, oh, we've desynced. And I instantly knew what he meant. I was like, oh, shit. And then about 10 seconds later, all of a sudden I see red screen, dead. And I was like, oh, no. So, yeah, if you see enemies stop moving, run. They're probably chasing you, but you can't see them.
Good to know.
But to get back to what we were talking about for first experiences, I got a different angle on that. Before I even got into the game, I had to sideload it, and that was the first time I'd ever sideloaded a game.
Oh,
So
that was a nightmare.
Yeah, it wasn't too hard for me. I watched a good tutorial, but what I really loved is, and just like when you get in game, the fact that we've got people to play with because we had a previous guild from Zenith. I was able to get help. I was like, hey, why can't I see it? Why isn't this? And I've got all these people trying to help. And so it was something to really appreciate from the guild, that I had help because of all of us. And we were all helping each other. People in the guild were giving each other keys. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So that was kind of a first experience that I enjoyed of that, and just getting to like kind of know my quest better and be like, oh, okay, I can do this. Oh, there's this. Oh, okay, there's that. So that was a different part before even getting into the game. And that was, I know it was a nightmare for a bunch of other people. I know Bonely had some trouble with that.
Yeah.
Oh, Bonely.
Like that.
I
Spent a
felt so
lot of
bad.
time
I was
putting
having
that
so
shit
much
together.
fun testing out
Yeah.
a game, and people are asking me, how do you use side quests? I'm like, I should be a good person and answer, but I just got into this game like 20 minutes ago. Shit.
I don't feel too bad, like, because I think every one of you that's playing on Quest sent me the first message, and my reply to every one of you was the same. I sent you a link to a YouTube video, and I said,
Oh shit,
"Figure it
we were
out."
doing the same things. I was sending links to websites.
Yeah. I was
Like,
like, yeah, okay, he doesn't want to help. So I called Zay, and Zay got on the phone with me, and we worked it out. But I passed on the good mojo there, and I helped Aki on the phone and helped him get on his thing. So I passed it forward.
it's a 7-minute
Yeah.
video, and she goes in depth on what to do. You've got screen views that talks about what
You
you're
also
doing on
don't.
Couldn't figure it out.
I
passed
didn't
it
even
quite
do
well.
that. Me and Fink just sat there and worked it out with our. We were like,
Guys,
okay,
I would
what's
have
next?
helped, I promise.
What's next?
No, it's one of those things that I don't want to speak for Kitty, but like for me, like personally, I don't want to ever feel like I'm over explaining because I don't want to like say something to someone and they're like, oh wait, I actually already knew that, and then I feel like a jackass. Like, you never know where someone's level of tech savvy ends, and it can happen to me. People won't tell me something, and then like I have no fucking clue what's going on, but I'm sitting there acting like I do.
That's a lot of it
No,
for me.
somebody
So
said
I don't know.
unzip file. I was like,
That was
what
me.
the fuck does that even mean? Unzip a file? I've never unzipped a file.
I also realized that I should have just said right click and click extract all. That's what I should have said. But I didn't. I didn't say that.
Well, and
My
you
level
know,
of tech savvy is downloading video games onto a PS4 or like World of Warcraft to my computer. That's about it.
So
Well,
I think
no.
that's something.
go ahead.
Sorry, something that we should talk about if it's
Do we
okay,
have any
time
more
to
first
talk about.
experiences? 'Cause
That's
I
what
don't
I
think
wanted to ask
another
first.
work here has talked about it. And
Yes.
if Budo still hasn't talked about his experience in game.
Well, I mean, it's
Oh.
because it was so close with Meta. Meta basically gave the story.
I'm
Yeah, your
sorry.
first experience was the graveyard.
Yeah, my first experience was I got to get clubbed to death by my friend. So that was fun. Yeah.
I asked you, were you sure? I said, Budo. You said we're gonna turn it on because I was joking. I was like, you should turn on PvP. He's like, okay, he's like, actually, we're next to the starting zone. We can't spawn too far from here. It's probably a good time to try it. With someone that like, we don't have anything to lose. If we lose weapons, I don't got shit to
You won't
lose.
feel violated.
I was like, wait, you're serious? Let's do it. I'm a rock.
You did the same thing to me, Budo. It's fine. As soon as we got together, he was like, "You should
The
turn
difference was
PvP
I was
on so
like
I can
4
play
levels
the
higher
AoE
than you.
spell."
Yeah, Kitty did the same thing to me too. He's like, "Oh yeah, let's put the PvP on." I'm like, "I know what you're trying to do, man." He's like, "Yeah, turn it on." So I'm like, "All right." So I turned it on and just started clubbing them. Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, he one hit me with he shot one damn spell and it just put me in the graveyard. I'm like, "Oh, this is some bullshit."
I honestly was not prepared for that. One spell hit you and you just disappear out of existence.
Yeah,
Like,
he was
there's no
apologizing to
corpse,
people
there's no
for it.
ghost. It's just
Oh, man.
gone.
That's some Obi-Wan death right there.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
Kitty goes up to me. He goes, "I didn't mean to kill him. See, unlike you, I didn't do it on purpose."
Obi-Wan for
I
sure.
feel like there should be an animation or something when you kill somebody PvP though. It should be like the body should drop, or there should be like something that happens there. Yeah.
So
Yeah, right.
you go back to this concept of everything existing on the server. So the reason we're losing weapons and things like that is anytime there's an extra entity on the server, it slows everything down big time. So when you think about a corpse existing on the server, and then you'll have 2 instances of an entity. So you've got your corpse.
No,
and
not
you've got your player.
existing. Not existing. Like it happens, it shows up, then goes away.
But as far as the game is concerned, you would still be there if your corpse was there. Which again, I mean, that's not a bad
It
idea
would
to
be
have your
tied
corpse
to
there
to
for
your
5
character coding.
seconds and then
That way there
use it
weren't
over the
duplicates.
graveyard. But
Good.
the way they're handling entities on the server, you just can't do that. So that's why there's no enemy corpses. Like the loot thing pops up and everything lags for a second. Like, it's one of the things they're really gonna have to invest in is infrastructure.
So
Their day one has got to be 1,000, 2,000 people on day one. So I think they said they're prepared for as much as like 500 in
that's
the alpha.
max. That's not being,
Yeah, that's not going
and
to cut it.
again,
that's not
I mean,
simultaneous runtime. That's how many people have a key. That's how many keys exist. That's not how many people will be on the server at one time. So
Right.
max, they could probably do closer to 20 on a server at one time. You guys haven't gotten to dungeons yet, I don't think. But Fink learned tonight. I know Archmage learned tonight. Dungeons are super hard right now because you, like Kier was saying, group quests are group quests. And the problem is when you get more than 3 people in one spot, the game doesn't like it. And you have people that are in the boss room, and the whole dungeon is one area, even though it really should be split up into a boss room speaking chamber and like a hallway speaking chamber at least. Because you walk into the dungeon, the first thing you do is you hear people yelling, fighting the boss at the end of the dungeon. So you're starting this, you have to wind your way through it. It's going to take you a good 20 minutes, and all you hear is, ah! Ah! The whole way through, the moment you're in there. And there's like 5 or 6 people, and all of a sudden people's games start lagging. You see people running in place and then disappearing. They really need to work on that, but I'm sure they are. It is an alpha. Go on, Kier.
So, okay. So my first experience was just logging in and seeing this giant rat that is like 3 or 4 times the size of me, and having to hit it with this tiny little wooden club that I thought might be magical, but I'm not sure because it had the little twist at the end of the wood, and so it looks like, I might about to cadaver some fools real quick, but that didn't end up happening. I just was clubbing them to death. And so me and Fink are running through, figuring out the controls, and overall, I think my first experience was pretty fun. It was just kind of doing a lot of gawking at the world and going, wow, this looks a lot like another MMO I've played a lot of, and I'm really enjoying being in this in first person, just being right here doing this instead of being third person at my night elf and like killing a jaguar. Go ahead, Link. That's my first experience. I was just blown away by the simpleness of it and how beautiful it was.
So I would have to say the most fun I had in the game was probably right at the very beginning in the starter area with the annoying sounding rats, because there was tutorial information. There was those little sandwich boards with the text on them that told you a little bit. There was not nearly enough of them, but there were some. So I got to learn a little bit about the game. It gave me the impression that there was going to be a lot more tutorial stuff throughout the way, so I had high hopes for that. There was a lot of mobs. Those rats were really condensed into a small area, so you didn't have to travel far to attack them and find them, so that was nice too. I was having a whole lot of fun right up until about like the bow and arrow area, and then after that it just slowed down a lot. Like there was a little ways until you learned the magic stuff, and the magic was like the last little bit of fun I think I had in that game when you first learn it at that little spot. And then after that everything got so spread out and far apart that I was bored and lost the rest of the time I was playing.
So I feel like it's important to point out here that in this group of 6, 5 of us are on one team, and Sir Maldo is over there on the literally gave up his key because he had so little fun with this game. He gave up
I
his
mean, it's
keys
not
to
a
whatever
game yet.
guild mate
It's
could get
a
in.
game testing experience.
And that is
Exactly. We're still in alpha. It's not even the game yet. There's
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
much
I see all the
with
potential.
what they
Yeah, I
have going.
love the potential.
and I think that they really expect themselves to have a larger user base than Zenith. I think that they think right now that they are about to really draw in that WoW audience that's been looking for VR that's waiting. That didn't think Zenith fit the art style that they wanted, and that is a big market. If those people do come in to VR, and I see a lot of potential in their current form of what they think is fast travel. I don't think they're going to put fast travel in. And I think the reason is because they're trying to find the right speed that is acceptable, but still not too quick to use those boats and those airships because those are social hubs. You know, we ran into people in Zenith at event spaces and at world boss fights. Well, now, you know, there's only one. It comes every half hour. People are going to need to be on that one.
So, you know,
You run into people.
their tagline is relive the glory days of MMOs. And let me tell you, there's two in WoW, there were two continents. And there's only one way to get from one continent to the other if you're not a mage. And that's a boat. And you're having to go to the
Boat.
edge of the continent to get on a boat. And you're
Yep.
having to go
Yep.
through a PvP zone to get to that boat. And then you finally get to the boat,
Yep.
and there's another member of the Horde or the Alliance on that boat in stealth, waiting to kill you for the entire.
Yep.
So your corpse is sitting there on the boat all the way to the other continent. And then
Yep.
when you finally get to that other continent, so there's a loading screen, and you finally get there, you still got 5 minutes of travel in the boat before you come into harbor. You
And,
know,
s- and
so
so,
glory days,
and
there's no
even-
fast travel, there's no portals, there's no.
No.
You are hoofing it
No.
through zones you have no business being in because you want to go to Stormwind. You started off as a night elf, you're an idiot, and you find out no one plays as night elves, and you've got to get to Stormwind so you can do anything. You know,
Yep.
you're
and
Started
you
as a
wanna
night elf, found out the hard way. Flight paths, baby.
you're on the wrong
Discovered
continent.
along the entire continent and connect each flight path like it's a goddamn airport.
and you
And then
you had to
you can
discover.
only make it so far because you haven't discovered the flight path in Goldshire. Sorry, buddy.
And
You
then
didn't-
to
you're
take
not far
those
enough.
flight
You gotta run
paths,
through level 27 Red
above
Ridge
my head at the
Mountains.
moment.
to take those flight paths, you had to pay gold. And early on, you've got 19 silver, and the flight path cost you 19 silver. And you're like, man, I really wanted to get a helmet today, but I guess I'm flying to Goldshire.
So I kind of think I might see part of their little vision now. This could be
Yeah.
kind of cool. So paint a picture real quick. You can't see my hands, guys, but just stick with this high thought, okay? You have in Zenith how many shards? How big a player base total at any one time with how many shards they have? They have 3 realms. What if they only intend to have 3 realms? Because they want their map to be 25 times bigger than the entirety
Yeah.
of the current map, including the ocean. If they have races start in different starting zones, no fast travel, you really will kind of know more. As weird as it sounds, you'll know more. You know, for instance, I don't know, like Minotaurs if you're a Minotaur. Like you'll know more elves if you're an elf. Like, and you'll kind of, and you will because there'll be literal distance between you. Currently,
you
to get
get-
around the whole map is almost 4 hours if you just walk the exterior
And
of
you
it.
get that brotherhood feeling. Like you're a night elf.
That's
You're-
really cool.
You're doing night elf specific quests. You're learning from night elf teachers. Like, and you create that brotherhood where when you're finally level 20 and you're going through the first, I guess you were like, what, 10 for the first dungeon? I can't remember what Van Cleef was. But you get to
Yeah, I
that
think
first
Van Cleef was like
dungeon,
10.
That's
and
cool.
you know you're preferring your own kind, you know, because you're like, oh hey,
Don't say
I've
that.
I've seen you. You know what I mean. Oh shit! I saw the symbol. Okay.
It's a sense of identity because, like, for the night elves
Yeah.
here in Darnassus, like you said, all your first mount.
Well, I'm saying they're
All alone.
creating a
Just
real
go-
sense.
But yeah,
Go on, Kier.
and it makes sense to only have 3 servers early on because I mean, well, every other MMO you start off with at least 7 or 13, but it does. It makes perfect sense. And the way I've had it explained to me, even though there's 3 main servers, there are still separate shards on each server. Although currently it looks like they're just using that to kind of put you in timeout. Because anytime I've sharded off, I'm by myself. Like there's never anyone else
Oh,
there.
it's horrible. Well, you have to think there's so few
yeah,
people that are currently playing, and so the ones who are probably not sharded off. You're probably like 4 people in an area, not like 30 or 20 even. Like you're the odd man out, unfortunately.
And
But
who was it just now that said that?
that's Zay, by the way.
Okay, so let's just say Zay, because I create more production. Okay, I get it now. So yeah, that's what makes it role play. You identify with your local class and your race choice, and then you move on to a big city, and it's your big city. It's where all the, let's just say, I don't even know if they have a name for it, the horned elves. Let's just say you're a horned elf and you start off in your own starting zone, and you got your own city, you get your own mounts, you get your own class specific abilities, and then once you hit level 15, 20, you go to somebody else's major city hub, or like the major city hub where everybody comes together. You start to interact with people, you try to find groups for dungeons, you realize what a guild is, you find out battlegrounds are a thing, and you're like, holy shit, this whole new world is opening up before me. And I thought I was going to be playing with horned elves and riding a cat forever. And now if I go build up reputation with the humans, I can get a horse. If I go build up my reputation with
it's like
the
Civilization.
dwarves, now I can
That's
ride
cool.
a goat with giant horns and armor on the side of it. So there's just so many possibilities for an MMO, and to see what like they've done with the alpha testing and just giving us this little taste.
And guys,
there's so much potential for this being like the one zone we have access to out of possibly 5 or 6.
Well, just like the. Oh, sorry, Meta. Go ahead.
No, I have something I really wanted to add for this, actually, because it's something I've been thinking about, when I've been bored at level cap.
All right, we get it, man. We get it.
Bitter much?
Anyways, so as I've seen like the combat mechanics evolve, and this is just the alpha, it's not late stage game. Even like at release, there'll be a maturity of the game as it evolves, but we're so far from even release. As I've seen the combat mechanics evolve from like where you start to where you can just run up and run away to where it is at like the ending dungeon. And then to realize that this is supposed to be like the like the starter island for like new players. That's why it only goes to level 19. Like that, everything there is like level like 1 through 13. Even like the final boss, I think, is only level 15. And then advance that far, they could actually make it somewhat difficult. And also to realize it's an island with the scale of that map. If you ever just have the time, you just sit down, smoke a bowl, and you're not doing anything. Wait go to one of those little boat stations, get one of those boats. When you realize how big that ocean actually is outside the map that you can go into without falling through, you realize that there could be real boat journeys to another island. Oh my gosh. Like that boat ride, I timed it. I clocked it. It's almost a half hour.
Yeah, well, that was me and Kier. So
there's
Kier,
no jumping off like you're on a balloon. There's just ocean. You can't even see the island.
This was me and Kier. We met up randomly, and then we ended up where we jumped on a Zeppelin. And when we were on the Zeppelin, we were doing like a flight simulator, like we were doing a tour. Like, now, look on the left, and here are the cocoas, and we were having fun on there. And then we were on there for a while, and then we were like, oh, there's a boat. And we saw the boat in the ocean. We're like, let's go jump to the boat. So we're like, all right. So we flew over and we landed on the boat. And we're like on the boat chilling. And Kier is on there fishing off the side of the boat as we're going. And he's catching fish off the side of the boat, which is really cool. And we're like, then we're like there for about 5-10 minutes. We're like, well, wait a second. Are we on a boat to nowhere? Like, is this thing?
You said you can't see anything.
You
If
see
you don't have a
nothing.
quest marker, you're screwed.
We saw nothing.
You
We're
have to
like,
wait.
where the hell are we? We're like, we're at the end of the earth on this thing. We're like, well, what the hell do we do? So we're like, oh my God. So like, well, what do we do? Like, we're all right. Well, I guess we'll just go to the graveyard. So like, okay. So
Oh, I wish I
we
thought
go
of
to the
that.
graveyard, and for me, I had always been pretty relatively close to my grave. So I would just go to my grave. So I didn't realize that you could click on the tall grave and just
Oh.
make yourself there. So I'm trying to get back to my grave, and I end up at the ocean, and the thing is 1,500 meters into the ocean. I'm like, well, how the hell am I gonna get there? I'm like, so I keep going back. I'm like, what the hell do I do? Like, I had to look it up, and it's like, oh, you just hit the grave. I'm like, oh my God.
When you're dead, can you hit go to graveyard again?
Yes.
Oh, you
No.
want to hear about the
No,
world's worst
you
bug
can't.
in the
I
world
learned
that
that
I
the
have?
hard
Yeah,
way.
you can.
They
I
can.
As
I
a
went to my
ghost?
grave, and it was 20 feet above me. I'm in the water, and it's where the boat platform should be. And I was like, well,
Looks like I need to go catch that Zeppelin, fly onto that boat, and ride until I find my grave.
So I currently have a glitch on my character that the devs are supposedly looking at. Something ModMill said that the hopefully the dev team can help me. So I hit level 19, right? And when I should have hit 20 and my bar filled, ever since then, I've been a dead man walking in this game. I can't see my health bar. I don't have a health bar, but I do have a health bar. I just can't see it. Um, Sometimes it tells me I'm forever at 1 health or that I'm dead. It'll just say I'm dead and I'll still be walking around with health. I can't see my mana bar. I have no idea when I run out of spells. I'll just randomly not be able to do anything about the thing trying to kill me. And when I do die, I don't go back to the graveyard. My screen doesn't go gray. I'm still where I was, but now I can't attack or do anything. And then my go to graveyard button literally doesn't work because, like Pierre said, I'm dead. So I have to manually backtrack to the graveyard, to any graveyard. There's no quest icon. There's no way I can know. I have to remember where they are, go find one, revive myself, and then I'm debuffed for 5 minutes every time. And on top of that, I'm stuck permanently with half my normal health. I have 115. I'm supposed to have 230. So I'm just screwed. So I go into dungeons and I'm like, hey, can you tell me if you see I'm about to die? Because I have no way of knowing. I need to know if I should heal myself. So I'm just constantly like, guys, am I dead? Am I going to die?
So, go ahead, Sermaldo.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, how many of you guys play seated? Okay, and in a chair with armrests?
Am I the only one that plays in my seat?
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, I do.
Seated.
Seated. Sorry, I thought
I did try it once, so I know where you're going with it. What is that?
Like,
Okay, well,
seated, no.
we all play on our butts instead of standing up.
I stand. I stand.
Okay. So for the place to put your weapons down on your hips or whatever in this game, the armrests are right in the way. I couldn't get to it. And also, when I wanted to look at what was on my hip, it was like my character didn't have a neck. It was like I was looking straight down into my chest, and I couldn't see my hips.
So
was
that
so frustrating.
actually helps a lot with grabbing those items. So if you just kind of look forward, I can't really do it with my avatar, and then look down,
like lean way forward to do it,
and push it. No, serious. Just lean forward and then look down, and also adjust your character height. Adjust your character height to what might not feel entirely natural, and it'll actually make
shorter
it a
or
lot
taller?
easier. Taller, because then those items are resting above your armrests.
It's like way up here.
Mine have been luckily like right in between the armrest and my hip, so I've been able to find a sweet spot. But I really wish I could. It seems like such a simple thing, and I'm sure it will be added later. But just to be able to see like what's on your back, like you can't in your menu see what, and that's like kind of. It's such a simple thing.
I couldn't get the items.
A heads up display somewhere that just denotes what you have on your person, so you know, like, oh yeah.
See,
my spear is here.
That's one thing I
here.
really like about this is that there's no heads up display. The closest you get is when you pull that compass up. I feel so
useless,
much immersed. Like I hate that I have to like pull up the inventory screen to put stuff in inventory Like I've gotten so used to just grabbing and doing this
Oh yeah, that's so much fun. Yeah.
that I need that. Because like this, like
Y'all-
just
y'all
wait,
know.
hold
That's
on,
how you
Yeah,
lose
put it
weapons.
Yeah,
hold on.
Man.
Okay, there we go. All right.
yeah, I don't like that at all. It's got to be faster. It's got to
Yeah.
be much faster.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah,
the
especially when it's got a
items-
countdown timer. This is about to disappear. Hurry up and pick it up.
It has to disappear because it's an entity on their server.
Get better servers, especially if you're going to start charging people for beta.
I mean,
Who's buying the
Zenith
beta?
items disappear after a certain amount of time. They just don't tell you. At least they tell you.
Yeah, that's true.
The
And if you ever
countdown
really
timer
wanna-
sets me off. Oh, sorry.
If you ever really want to bog down your instance, you can set stuff. Well, you can glitch stuff out.
So,
Yeah,
So
don't
like
do
the
that.
fishing
Don't do
pole
that.
when you catch fish.
Don't do
if
that.
you
Yep,
put
yep,
grip,
don't do it.
you can drop
That
the
day
fish
is
off
when
the
my
fishing
game
pole.
started having its very first bugs. Don't
Yeah.
do it. Zenith, like, whatever, have your fun. The game has, somewhat better servers. Do not do that in Ilysia. You will ruin it for you and everyone else. And there's only 3 realms. We can't just keep going to different shards because you destroyed this one. It's like Rick and Morty. You ruined this universe. We have to go to a new one.
Well, and
You
it's
guys love
not.
We have to kill
squirrels.
everyone and move on now.
It's not that the servers are any better in Zenith. It's just that structure of
Yep.
host to client.
Yes. And
As
Bonely
opposed to
knows all
client to
about
host.
that. 311,
So-
baby. Too much happened. The game broke.
311, never forget.
Never forget. That was like the one night I decided
This is
to
where I
sleep
go.
for like 2 weeks. No. We can talk about we can
Yeah,
talk
no,
about
that's fine.
glitching
Everyone knows
and
that this
Zenith
Are we,
all
are we
we want.
talking dupe night?
Dupe night?
Night.
311,
311.
never
The
forget.
night that I was at Necrolord and
I wasn't
everyone
there.
jumped up and then no one jumped down and then everyone jumped down and all of a sudden I start hearing, man, if I pick this up, it's going back. It's not going in my inventory. And then I hear someone else go, it is. Oh my gosh, it is. And I'm like, all of a sudden at that moment, I see everyone, like their hands are moving in front of their faces, like they're doing stuff. I'm like, everyone's in their menus. Oh no, this is about to be bad. And I literally looked at everyone in our guild and I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. Crimson's going to get a bad name. You can't do that.
I went on to Zenith's Discord like 2 days later, and there's like people everywhere saying, "Oh, well, Crimson Council taught
Oh,
me
I
how to do."
know. I
Like,
know.
At
I was
what
like,
point have
I
any of
was
us
literally
encouraged that?
being very. I'm one of the guild leaders. I was publicly yelling at people not to do it. If they're saying Crimson is telling people, then I don't know. I don't know what to tell them.
Well, we had a problem early on because we had a couple guys that were running Cheat Engine that somehow got invited to the guild
Yeah, but I mean,
because
you
of
can't
those
always
two
do that
guys.
stuff.
Well, and
We
And
won't
early
say
on-
names, but we know who invited them and promoted them, and that's all now gone.
Well, and early on with Zenith, it really was, it's so easy to cheat because again, it exists on your host. It doesn't exist on, or it exists on your client. It doesn't exist on the host. So there's almost that feeling of like, well, if you
You know
can
if
cheat
someone
and it's just
wanted
for
to,
you, who cares?
Yeah.
But that's the problem in Zenith is once you start cheating, you're affecting everyone because you're either spawning entities into the game or you're there's really no point with
I guess for me, I draw the line when it comes to like if the game screws up itself on their end and weird shit's happening and you're just having fun with it because the most glitch nights were probably the most fun I've had in Zenith. Like that was all the fun. Like when we pulled all the we were moving all the dormant characters around the map and like creating those people, those monster like groups and that night 311 and like the nights where you see like 12 world bosses running around the stage, like we could either leave the game and talk about how terrible it is, or you can have fun with what you've been given. And so when the problem is on their end, I'm like, that's the game, and you just have maximum fun with what they're doing. When you actually go and you have a cheating thing and you bring that to the table with the ultimate goal of messing with the game or tweaking the game, or that's where I draw the line with that stuff. If something weird happens in the game and you just happen to be there and some weird shit's going on, that's on them. But if you are trying to fuck the game up, like I don't see how you can get any enjoyment from that because it's not it. To me, I don't get it. Like that, I don't understand.
In a multiplayer online game, it's garbage. It's not classy. You don't want to do that.
So I'm sure there's ways people could cheat in Ilysia, but there's something to be said about the ease of it. And I'm not telling people go out and cheat in Zenith. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is more of like an ethical thing. I don't know if I would necessarily call it unethical, and the reason is because there's a degree of easiness to it. If I, as a player who just started playing the game, completely morally didn't do anything that I shouldn't have, know that every other player, it would be exceedingly difficult for them to cheat because it's not hosted client side. But knowing that it's hosted client side, meaning like your headset, not over at their server, and you could just modify the game file, like why would I take that game seriously? I know that anyone who really wants to cannot just cheat. They can cheat in all kinds of crazy freaking ways. Like they can do whatever they want. Where in Ilysia, there's more, which is interesting, by the way. There's like a sense of finality. Like it's a virtual experience, and I can't really cheat this one because the game. It's hosted over there. I can't mess with this, which is where you get the I'm running away from mobs that are chasing me, whether I can see them or not. I'm being chased. What's up?
So to speak on like the being able to mod the game on your side, that's where Dota came from. Dota came from one group of people deciding that they didn't have enough fun in World of Warcraft, and they took essentially everything from World of Warcraft, modded the game themselves, figured out this is a thing that they want to do, and then just off and created Dota. And so, like you're saying, what's to keep somebody from, just taking everything that they've learned and all the programming that they now have access to and just creating their own game?
Pardon my ignorance, but what is Dota?
Thanks, Bonley.
It's like Warhammer.
PvP.
Is that an acronym, or is that the name?
Defense of the Ancients, I believe.
Have you ever heard of League of Legends? It's somewhat.
It's
Yeah, I've heard of I know what League of Legends is.
Okay,
I've never heard
it's
what
like
Dota
that.
is.
It's called a MOBA.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And they took all that licensed information and like idea and just made a whole new game out of it because why not? Because there's no restriction on that quite yet. And so now there's a Dota 1, Dota 2, DLCs. It's its own company now. So that's a very slippery slope for somebody to just mod the game. And I'm glad that we've taken a hard time.
But I mean, it does go to this point of, there's a level with Ilysia where you kind of feel like it's sacred, But in Zenith, you don't feel that because, like you said, at any point, anyone can modify their game file. And unless they get reported and someone actually goes into it and investigates, nothing happens with it. But God, I totally lost my train of thought there. But yeah, it really does. Stop with the chat. It just pops up and covers my whole screen. Yeah,
Hi, everybody.
I meant to turn off your camera, and instead I made you
what? Take that.
It was still some great punishment. But like I said, like Ilysia gives it that feeling like it's more sacred, and like if you mess with it, there's an ethical impact. Versus Zenith, where you almost feel like they didn't care enough to safeguard it. So maybe, there should be some safeguard in place. There should be something to, because you've got people out there that just don't care. And so,
they have entire anti-cheat
from that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a whole other thing.
Well, just a real quick thing for moving forward, just to kind of bring this conversation to what Buddha was saying about moving it to like what we want from the game and how it's going to work. And that I know one of the big complaints we've been talking about is the distance of traveling and how long it takes and all that. But like I think really the wild card is going to be the mounts, just like Kier was talking about. Because if you once it makes sense to limit your character on your movement if they're going to be adding all these different mounts and things that are going to really accentuate the movement and is going to bring that movement to you. So I think looking at it, trying to contrast it with Zenith, which doesn't have any mounts, leaves us a little bit confused on how the game is going to function without any other element of movement there.
Yeah,
When
like
you start introducing that stuff, it becomes a lot more interesting, and those things become a lot more valuable and important for you to get because it's going to give you that mobility around the game, which you're really going to want by the time you can get one. So that's cool.
like here's one that since playing Zenith, I'm sure everybody has hated. We can't climb everything. You're like, this mountain, I just can't climb it like I can Zenith. But if you could get a mount that could go up it, that would make it so much more of a fun experience.
Exactly.
Like, oh, all of a sudden I can just go up mountains. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in
It should solve
MMOs
the problem.
historically, movement is tiered. The better you get, the easier you can move around the world. When you're early on, you've got one flight path to your home city, and that's it. You don't have a mount. You don't have your level 20 running. If you're a druid, you don't have your travel form. They lock you into being slow AF. You just can't move. And then as you get better, you're rewarded for your experience by being able to move quicker and faster. And eventually you've got a transparent flying dragon and you can go anywhere you want to as fast as you want to.
Right.
And I think that, for a beta experience or an alpha experience, having to run everywhere feels like an MMO. It feels like the way it's supposed to be. And I know, a couple of you guys haven't done MMOs and you weren't, around for this stuff. But I tell you, man, my sense of nostalgia being inside Ilysia the first 2 or 3 days, I'm walking 19 kilometers.
And that
I have
me
nothing
so
is happening. I've got to walk through
love.
these fields looking for hogs.
How'd you figure out the gliding? I didn't learn about the gliding until I bumped into you. Where was the sandwich board with that tutorial information?
It's in the Discord. It's in the Discord.
I just figured it out. I saw some level 1 doing it, and I was like, if he can do it, I can do it. I just started clicking buttons. I was like, my hands have to be above my head for some reason.
I
just
saw it
and I started hauling ass, and I was like, yes, I'm flying, baby.
A lot of the instructions are in the Discord, and I think that's where with it being an alpha, this is not a beta. This is an alpha. This is super early for the game. If it was a beta, I see you shaking your head, Samada. I'd agree with you if it was a beta, but with it being an
those
alpha,
sandwich boards are
I'm
easy
a little
to place.
I know, but I'm a little bit more understanding. And so they have a lot of their stuff in the Discord, and I think part of that is because they don't really care if you play the game right now because it's an alpha, unless you're going to help them in some way, and there's no way you can do that without the Discord. So it's kind of important that they know the people who are actually knowing how to play the game are actually ones who would be willing to communicate with them. So it's kind of a smart move, honestly. Although it's a little annoying for people who just contributed to the Patreon or something and just wanted to play the game that they contributed to. But to everyone else, it feels completely fair. Just saying.
There is a way to submit bugs without using the Discord, by the way.
Yeah, but for features or stuff like that, or for help, there's
portal.
not a ton.
Yeah. And that, I feel like it's a valid complaint that there isn't really a tutorial. You've got those sandwich boards and then they're just gone. And I know I was helping probably Bonely when I realized there's 3 or 4 more sandwich boards that are really helpful for stuff that I still hadn't learned. So, the market share of people that are in the alpha right now, I don't think want a tutorial. I think they want to figure everything out. Again, it's almost like a staple coming of age in MMOs where you have to ask for help. You can't, the game doesn't give it to you. You know, you don't have your crazy taxi arrow telling you where to go for the quest. You've got to fucking wander around, find someone playing, and you go, "Hey, I've got to go kill this chieftain. Do you have any idea what this is?" You know, that's
You have
It's
to read
genius.
literal directions. They're like,
You know-
his name is Dork, and he's northeast. Have fun.
yeah.
So like,
And that's something that, you know, with MMOs, like I'm going to compare a lot to WoW because this really is a WoW experience for me. But early on, that was it, you know, and then you have what we endearingly called casuals join the game, and
hi
everything
guys.
got screwed up from that point on because they're tailoring their
no.
content to these casual people, and all of a
Oh,
sudden,
no.
you know, you're the stuff you worked really hard for and you feel proud of yourself for doing. Now they're just telling these guys how to do it. You've got an NPC over here
Yeah.
like, oh, you want to tame a pet? Here's how you tame it. And you're like, man, that's bullshit, dude.
Yeah, and I gotta say that's a dumb thing to do.
And now
so-
you're like, all your quests are marked on your map. Are you kidding me? I can just open
Yeah.
my map and walk to a quest.
So-
I don't have to read
Hey,
it. I don't have to
A
know
map
directions
would
or-
be really nice in this game. I would
an
love a
overworld
paper
map of any
paper
kind, just
map you can
please.
pull out.
Let me
Even
even
if it
discover
doesn't-
map pieces. Like, just let
Yeah.
me
A
discover
world
parts
map
of
would
the
be
map.
amazing,
Oh,
but I don't
that's
want
great.
that
Make you
world
buy
map
it.
to have every quest marked out so that it's cookie cutter and you're like,
Have
I'm
it be a
walking
boss
to
drop.
my
I don't
next
care. Just
quest
let me get map
destination.
pieces.
Get a local map from the tavern, but only get the local area because that's
I
all they
love
know.
that.
'cause-
I love
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I
if
want
it- if
to
you're-
make a
if
comment
that-
about the WoW statements, and I want to
Yeah.
specifically, I think, ask Bonely because he's the only one here I think who has not played an MMO before the Zenith. Is that correct?
Kind
Yeah.
of me too. I played Orbis, so very little.
Okay, so I guess you as well. Although you're not part of the Zenith Club. So as someone who is new to MMOs, I think that it is extremely essential that they leave some of this stuff out to encourage that social aspect, because coming into the virtual space, you want people to be talking to each other to start to feel comfortable with it. And people are usually most comfortable opening a conversation with, can you help me with something? Then, hey, how's your day, random person? And so I also think it's really important because how much time did we spend in Zenith that we didn't play Zenith? That Zenith still had hours that they had players playing their content in their world that would be more invested in that world and want that world to stick around and would buy cosmetics and such. That we weren't playing, we were just chatting and stuff. For an MMO, so it kind of gives me the feel for someone who's not super, deep into the MMO world, that for it to survive, they need to do everything they can to encourage the social function, the shared
and
ships,
fix
the
the
shared
voice chat, like you were
airships.
saying earlier.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
god, the voice chat.
People that I couldn't even find were in my ear, and then I'd get close to them and I couldn't even hear them. I'd be taking one more step closer when I was already in their face because I couldn't hear them when I was right up next to them.
But I'm curious
Yeah.
what you guys think. Like, do you, like Bonely and Budo, do you feel like they do need more tutorial, or do you, as someone who's not like an MMO veteran, like some of these other guys on the panel, or as like the external consumer, like considering getting VR, considering trying an MMO for the first time, like I was, would you want to have a tutorial? Would you sacrifice that for that?
I think some of what they did was fine, but I would say maybe slightly more, or the tutorials that they have make them a little bit more meaty. Like what they have, make it very clear and very obvious, just the absolute basic things. Because like for me, not understanding what happens when I die and doing that whole grave, that was
Wasn't that a great experience though? It was slightly
no,
terrifying.
no, really, no. But seriously, all joking aside, like trying to be critical, because yeah,
Okay.
I mean it's goofy or whatever, but trying to be critical, it's like it was a waste of time, and I don't mind wasting a time talking to people trying to learn a spell. Like that's like something cool in the game to where I don't need you to teach me the spells. It's good. Oh, how do I do this? Talk to people, things like of that nature. But like basic functionality of the game, I would prefer to be taught. You know what I mean? Just teach me the functionality. Then any mechanics or things within the game you should learn from people and like that. But like just the basics, I think they could do a better job.
They
Yeah.
they
I,
did
I
have a death. Oh, go ahead, Budo. Go ahead, Budo. No, go
oh
ahead.
no. Yeah, you please.
No, let's not make this weird. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I totally I agree with Bonley. Like it's just finding that nice balance. Like give the basics, but then there are some advanced techniques you can't get. Or give us a map, but like Kier said, maybe don't show where all your quests are. Like you maybe just this is where you have to go, but you don't know where in that area. You know, there's no like red dot, but it would be nice to have a map. Just kind of like an in between. It's all about finding that balance. I think for that it feels it as somebody who didn't play MMOs, I played a lot of RPGs, and I've just been enjoying the game from just the single player RPG mode, even though it's real simple for that. But I'm still getting that feeling from it. And some RPGs don't have a lot of like telling you this, that, or the other. You've got to, back in the day, you'd read a Nintendo Power or go on IGN or something like that. But being able to learn it from other people, that like has been said, super important.
Yeah.
Okay, Kira, it's your turn.
No, I was just gonna say, they had very basic sandwich boards. I agree with you guys. They should have a little more in-depth explanation as to like when you die, here's what happens, here's how you get your body. When you do an attack, here's what you do. If you're gonna be doing the mage spell casting, here's how you cast a spell. It should all kind of be right there and in your face a little bit, and there should be NPCs like Zay is saying in the chat. There should be somebody to help those out that don't necessarily want to reach out to somebody, but like we've all been kind of coming to the same conclusion. It does create that social aspect of like, hey, how do I cast the ball spell? How do I do the AoE? How do I upgrade my archer shot because it's taken me 10 shots to kill this level 5 thing and I'm level 5 and it doesn't make sense? And it's like, well, did you know you have to grab the slider and slide it over? Because my first time through, I just put a point in arcane, a point in archery, and a point in the top one. And then me and Fink were sitting there going, why isn't anything? Now hold on. And he reached up and grabbed it and moved it. And he was like, Kier, I figured it out. You can move the thing.
First.
And I was like, wow, are you serious? He's like, yeah, do you just want to restart characters? And I was like, of course I do, because I just wasted my
Your first 3 talent, I didn't bother restarting. So I'm behind the whole level.
I
Why
luckily
they did it
chose all
that
but
way.
one that I didn't want.
I lost all of my weapons, so I did restart because I was like, well, and then the next day
they patched it.
and then the next day, like,
Well,
here's your weapons back.
Budo, you and I both never got the opportunity to edit our characters because it's the same thing where you look at the thing, you go edit character, and nothing changes because it's all happening over here where you can't see it.
It's all over
And
here.
so you're like, this is weird. Okay, I guess I'm done. Click, and then you go out and you're playing your non-customized character.
Yeah, running into both of you for the first time, I was like, oh, I guess you just
The
really
same
like
guy.
the default.
It's like, that's an interesting
No, I knew it
choice
was the
for your
default. I
character.
was like, okay.
I was like, what? You can change it?
Yeah.
And
Now, you
Pandian
haven't mentioned it, Meta, but I want you to talk about the jet skiing, because that was fun and an interesting thing, and I think we should definitely get a clip going too. We should see something from in game, because I know you passed on some funny imagery to Kitty.
I did pass on some clips.
Oh my gosh.
Here we
it's
go.
not just a little bit faster. It's a good bit faster.
It's 3-4 times faster.
I think we're gliding faster than regular gliding, actually. When I'm looking next to us, I don't feel like I usually move this fast.
Yeah.
perfect.
Well, because you're not going down at all. You're going completely laterally.
Oh yeah, you are.
Yeah. So explain what you were doing there, Meta.
We were jet skiing. If you call it anything other than that, you're a fraud. It's called jet skiing.
Yeah, there's Pandy and Osprey in the chat. That's the guy who gave me my key originally. Thank you, dude.
And
Pandian
yes,
is a legend.
Good
But so
job.
when it
And-
comes to jet skiing, I just real quick. PSA out there: when you fall through the world, jet skiing is your friend. Because if you fall through the world, which you will at some point, I'm sure even in beta, that's a hard one to work out. Xena still does it. They're pretty much launch. whether they say they are, they're not. They're pretty much launched at this point. So yeah, so do that until you see like a part of the world that kind of dips into where you can just float into, and just go in there. You clip back into the world, problem solved. You don't need to go to your gravestone. You'll be fine. But if you try to swim that, you're gonna have a bad time because it takes forever. Anyways, go on.
No, yeah, Pandian mentioned in the comments about the spell casting in Orbis was full of social deals because like you were learning shortcuts to spells, and I think I mentioned that in the first episode. It was one of the coolest things. Somehow they had just chosen an area in the map, like this is where you go to learn how to use the wand, and then you just learn from people. There were always people there teaching somebody else, and that was a cool experience.
Yeah, well, I know that when you get those little glitches like that with movement, it's pretty cool. Because certainly the scooter moving in the in Zenith is awesome, and you wouldn't want it to go. So, do you guys think that they'll keep the jet skiing or no?
Oh, I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't think they will.
probably-
They seem like
they'll
they
pull it
want.
out.
Yeah, they want this to be more. They don't want the
Controlled.
cheese ways things. They don't.
Yeah.
If they wanted that, they would have made it like client side. They would have gone the route of I don't give a fuck, and that's what.
Well, you
Zenith
will be
did.
trying it regardless. Once beta comes, I'm sure you're going to jump in the water and try it immediately.
Oh, of course. There's a lot of things we're gonna try immediately. I'm
Right.
gonna see if they still work. I'm sure they'll announce that they fixed it though, or something. They've been really forthright with the bugs they fixed and when.
Yeah. And it makes sense to fix it. I mean, it takes me 2 minutes now to get back to the starting area. You just jump in the ocean and head south, and then you get there.
Yep. You
Which
fools
is
do it
nice
any other way.
because the first few days going back to help you guys was just dreadful, dude.
Horrible.
Like trying to get back, like, oh no, Zay just started playing. Now I've got to go back so we can play together. And every single one of you
guys
in this
don't
stream, I've had to go
appreciate
back
us.
to the beginning to play with y'all.
Y'all don't appreciate your high level friends. We go through so much to get back to you to help.
Oh man.
That shortcut that we took to Renswood that was like an hour long was not a shortcut.
I don't use the
That was not.
roads. I
But
don't
again,
ask for directions until I finally do.
And then
How
we got to
much
a point where
fun?
Kitty and Meta were like, "Wait, no, are you? No, I'm pretty sure. No, it's that the boat with the stroke. No. Trust me."
But how
And
much
we were all
fun?
like, "You know what? We're going this way."
But how much fun was that night?
Oh, that
Like
was great.
that, to me, that's a better experience than the content you can put in the game. You know, and the game creates that. It's not like in other VR MMOs where we're literally trying to figure out how we can make a game inside the game. Like these are experiences where it wouldn't happen if you had
Because
a map.
we're screwed
You're-
without a map.
Yeah, like you know, it's
We're all up
kinda-
Shit's Creek, like, you know where we are? Nah, man. Maybe we go south.
No, like that's the one thing I rely on is like if
Till
I
the
head
sun
south,
rises.
eventually I'll hit a road and I'll be in the beginning area. You know, so I always my goal is to head south.
Is there going to be trading and bartering in this game?
I believe there is.
So like,
There's stretch goals. If you haven't looked at them, you should look at all the stretch goals they're talking about hitting.
I'll pull them up right now.
It sounds actually that's a good idea. I'll just pull it up and post it. Why not do that?
I'm on the computer.
but what's it called? They because I was wondering like if you could just like set up tours and just collect money from people to tour people places. Like be a guide. Like I'll take you here, but it's going to cost you. You know,
That's actually a thing that happens in MMOs, except it's more for like running people through dungeons and stuff. You'll get some high level person who's like, "Hey, you want to get the drops from that
Sherpas.
boss?
ah,
Come with
see,
me. I'll take a few
Oh,
gold,
shit,
and you can
yeah.
have
yeah, I
it."
want that.
There was
That's cool.
Give me 20 gold and I'll run you through
It's really common.
SFK.
Nice.
You could be one of those people eventually.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But I'm never gonna ask Meta for directions ever again.
Hey guys, it's okay. anyone who may or may not watch this now or later who has played Ilysia with me, who's not in the guild, will also tell you should not ask me for directions. They're too kind to tell me that. In fact, Archmage just today was like, man, I'm kind of new to the game. And I was like, no, it's this way. He's like, I kind of want to stay on the path, learn the way the game's meant to be played. I was like, oh, well, if you don't want to take the shortcut, it's fine. He's like, no, I guess we're taking the shortcut. We ended up in an area 4 levels higher than he needed to be and ended up just literally turning around and going the other way. I led us the exact opposite direction.
Oh my god, that's funny. So he'll be the misguided tour guide.
Yeah, exactly. You ask him for one thing, and he's like, "Oh, I don't think so."
I know the general area, but then I stopped looking at my compass.
So
it's my Metaquester, it's Meta Magoo.
No, it's Metaquester because I'm always out there questing because I can't find the fucking way.
Speaking of Meta's antics, do we have a fun clip of his antics?
Yes. Let's see it.
What do you mean a fun clip of his antics?
It's something involving a staff, I recall. I wanted to see
that. Dude, that hurts. Like, I don't even know if I want to play that clip.
How about the one where he lost kids? How about that one?
No.
I want to prelude it.
Okay.
Kitty's staff is the best staff I've ever had. And
He doesn't look thrilled by that. Oh, we've lost that.
Found the right button that time.
Found the right button that time.
I like the highlight better. I like the highlight better than the remove him. Right on the blast.
Just like awkward, like. Ugh.
That's not ideal. You know how I feel, except for you probably still have a wand. What the fuck? Where are they? They're on the ground. They're right down there. You can't see them. Oh, I picked up your. I picked up your staff. I have yours.
What the
I got a staff back, bitch. No, dude. Thank you for. What the fuck? For letting me have what? Do I have anything in my hands? No! They're just on the ground! I have it in my hands! My bow? No, my bow. No. Your fishing pole is right here, where my staff is pointing.
Where my staff is pointing.
Fishing pole? I don't care fishing pole. Yeah, but you've lost your staff. I still my fucking staff. I don't even know how to get back. The fuck, man? Oh my god.
So you owe him like 5 silver or 5 gold or whatever it is to buy his staff.
So I just wanna say
the betrayal.
There's no need to roll the clips unless the desire is there. But I also sent Kitty clips of me both losing my staff and my wand. I was nerfed. I had no way to cast magic. At least when he lost his staff, he still had his wand. I was running around with a bow and arrow. I couldn't do shit. I was so happy when his staff fell off of him. I was like karma, because the other 2 times he had laughed at me when I lost my staff and my wand, except for no one else got them. They were just gone forever.
I wouldn't say I laughed at you.
Oh, he laughed at me. I laughed at myself. It was a funny time. It's an alpha. Things happen. Like, it's whatever.
I was so like devastated, man. Like, because I had seen what it did to you. Like, you switch over to this bow, and like, I don't know what all you remember from that night, but you were like, "Kitty, you can't log off. I can't kill anything.
I can't kill
You can't
anything.
leave me here alone.
Once you leave me here, I'm gonna have to either make a new character or log off. I won't be able to kill anything."
We've got I don't know. I can't remember if we watched this one or
I didn't
not.
put any upgrade points into the bow.
Bonely. It's on you, buddy.
Oh, so there's me losing my staff. It disappeared. There it
So it
goes.
just
Look,
blinks
just
off.
boosh, gone. Watch as I realize my terror.
Bolted. By the way, so I kind of figured. So you were right about the zones.
Watch. I realize here.
Yeah.
Oh shit! 1 second.
Pissed.
I'll look around for it. Fuck, it's not here.
No. Is my staff somewhere on me?
It is not.
I
See?
have
I'm not
lost my
laughing.
staff.
No.
He says
Laughed
right
at
before he
me.
starts laughing.
It was nice having it while I had it, I guess.
Did you sell it to the vendor or what?
No, it just despawned.
Hilarious.
I didn't laugh that hard.
It wasn't long before I
And it
got
was-
your staff.
It
I was
wasn't.
so
It
happy.
wasn't. Like, oh man, reliving that just hurts.
Oh, it wasn't 10 minutes after that clip that I was falling, and I was like, well, at least I have a wand. And then the moment we got to where we were supposed to go, like literally, we were in like one of the starting areas in that clip. So following that clip, not 10 minutes later, we hadn't killed anything. I hadn't used my weapons. We finally get to the next place, drop down. Before I can shoot anything, I go to like move my hand to cast one of those little spells, and I'm like, nothing's happening. I look down, I'm like, fuck, I lost my wand too.
It
Oh man.
it was it's one of those instances again where it's an alpha, you expect things to happen, but like when these things happen, especially knowing that weapons are disappearing, and like everyone has a different explanation for why it was happening. So no one had an understanding of the bug. I still don't know if people have a
If
real
they
understanding
knew,
of
the
it.
devs would just fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
No one knows yet.
And I mean, well, they said they fixed it, but
I
I
know
think
they said they fixed it. I've watched it happen multiple times
oh
since.
yeah, it happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to me
it's happened
too.
since then.
Yep.
I now keep my items in my inventory because Meta
Yep,
was
I
like,
told you.
"Don't do it, man. Don't put it on your back, man."
But I had the reverse.
Don't do
I had
it.
the reverse. I put it in my inventory and it just disappeared. So
So
I've
the
only
thing
seen
I've
that
noticed
bodies.
is weird stuff happens when you're interacting with the vendors. That's when stuff seems to fall out and
It's
mess
not
with
just the
things.
vendors; it's quest givers too. Me and Archmage were
Yeah.
dealing with it last night. It's just when you talk to an NPC, it's weird.
I feel like the game's trying to decide if you own the entities that are on the screen or if you don't own them.
That's interesting.
I think that's what's
That's
happening.
interesting. I've also
Because
seen
you
it
have to
happen
be able to
randomly,
you have to be able to grab them. Well, the randomly thing again, I think it sees your entity here and it sees your staff entity here, and it goes, "Oh, they gave it up."
I've never lost an item when I'm playing by myself. I'll say that.
I have.
Yeah, yeah.
I have, yeah.
You guys have? That sucks.
Yeah, I put something on my back, and I was having such a hard time finding it that I was
'Cause
just
it wasn't
spamming
there.
the button.
I told you.
And
I told you
think what
here. Don't
happened
put
was I,
items
like,
on your back.
picked it up and put it back, and then picked it up, and then it just poofed because the game wasn't sure if it was on my back or in my hand anymore, and so it was just like, okay, neither. Sucks for you.
I like when I like when I completed a quest and I got like 5 gold and I walk over to the vendor like, oh, let me get some gear, and I bought the gear, I put it in my items, and it was gone. I'm like, what? Like, what just happened? It's gone. I'm like, oh shit.
So the day after I got Kitty's staff, I was feeling a little guilty, and so I had gone. I had
before
gone
Christ and after Christ.
Yes, it was. It was it was an evolution in the role playingness of Metaphysic and Ilysia. That character
BS and
evolved
AF.
that day because I went from being so emphatically happy that I could finally use the magic that I put all of my upgrade points into. Because I had a wand again because they hadn't put the new weapons in the shop at the starting area fixed yet. So the next day they had just fixed it. I'm pretty sure. I ran into this guy in the very starting area. I was like, "I'm gonna help you." Then he dropped his bow, and I was trying to tell him, "You gotta pick it up, man. You gotta pick it up. If you don't pick it up now, you're gonna lose it forever. You're gonna lose it forever, man." And he's trying to tell me, he's like, "Screw this." And I'm like, "You don't care about this bow?" He's like, "No." He's like, "I'm just gonna leave it. Screw it." I was like, "So you don't care about picking it up?" He goes, "No, it's all you, man." So I grabbed it, and I instantly was like, I don't need 2 bows, actually. It's not even worth anything at the shop. I trashed it.
When I lost,
wait. it was his last weapon, and I wasn't sure they had actually patched it yet. He goes, "Wait, so how do I damage things now?" And I was like, "Dude, you can't. Do you not have a? You don't have a sword. You don't have a wand." He's like, "I got nothing." I was like, "Oh no."
Yep, I've been there.
So from my perspective, I didn't see, like, my staff just disappeared, the fishing pole just disappeared.
Yep.
There was an artifact glitch on the screen, and I can see it watching your video, but it was just like, I mean, it looked like a pair of gloves or something that were really shrunk down. Like there was something weird on the screen, but I couldn't interact with it or pick it up. So I mean, there's not an option to pick up the item when it drops like that.
Oh, so you have to try to grab it from where you had it on your body. So like if it was in your other hand, like you can't see my hands right now, but like you know how you swap item hands, like go to swap hands. Or like if it was on your back, grab it from where it was on your back, it'll like float back into your hand.
Okay, that makes sense.
You showed me that because I dropped my sword. I had just bought the sword from the vendor, and I was like, "Where'd my sword go?" You were like, "It's right here on the ground. You can't see it." I was like, "No, I can't see it." Like, are you sure?
I knew he couldn't see it. I was fucking with him.
And so he was like, just reach where you last had it. And I did that, and it came to my hand, and I was like, yes, I'm putting this and this in my inventory, and I'm only grabbing it when I need it.
So Pandian says this issue is long standing with the game. We might very well be doing this on day one, where we're telling people, no, don't do that. Stay where you are.
Oh,
they gotta fix it before day one.
Oh,
I mean, as long
my character's eyes are crazy.
As long as it's got like some eyeshadow and stuff going on too. As long as there is a way for game masters to restore items, it's okay.
Oh, so, I'll tell you what, I'm currently dealing with my issue, and they got no way to help me. They straight up said, the guy who responded from Modmail said, "I hope the devs can help you." That was the official response I got.
Oh, man.
I'm just stuck like this forever. I'm at 230,000 experience out of 180,000 going to level 20 for 19. You know how much time that took? I'm not restarting.
You know, that's the beauty of an alpha test. I mean, that's what we're here for. So you're being very useful and giving them, things to look at. They can go through your server, logging and everything like that to figure out what's going on. And the same thing with all of our drop issues. Like, we really should be cataloging when that's happening so that they can look at what's happening.
They really actually are being very responsive. They want to, unlike Zenith, where like there's like thousands of people who are on it. There's only 500 total people that can. They want the feedback, because if you're not doing it, no one is.
Yeah, and that's the entire point of this. Like, we're having a lot of fun with it, and I feel like it's great advertising for them. But I mean, the truth of it is this is a play test. This is them trying to iron out the wrinkles before they iron out the next set of wrinkles. And I mean, I've had so much fun with this. The nostalgia factor alone got me to purchase their $20 beta pack, because I'm going to come in and do the beta whenever that releases. And I know I'm going to be on day one. I'm still looking for ways, like, because I know other people have talked about you can still back them either in like Patreon, or there's some other way to back them.
I've been hearing this too. I don't know where.
So I do want to.
Maybe not.
Patreon.
So I do want to jump in and do that.
Put it in the description for the show later.
Yeah.
When you donate to their Patreon, depending on how much you donate, you get a basic monthly gift, or you get the 2 monthly gifts, or if you donate the highest level, you get like 3 or 4 monthly gifts. And so
I would also like to add in real quick here, just side thought, if that's okay, guys. One thing that Ilysia has done. Fuck you, Surmaldo. One thing that Ilysia has done that I've really liked. Wait, can I get my character to look at you and yell? Wait. Fuck you, Surmaldo. Sorry. I really like. Oh damn! Wait, it's harder now. Fuck you, guys. I gotta move on. It's coming off now like I actually am mad, but I'm not. That I really like that Ilysia has done that Zenith didn't is the bosses have unique drop items, which is nice. So
That's cool.
And I am at love-hate at the moment with the not having crafting. I think they're going to put that in, but it kind of feels like they're going to keep bosses with unique drop items. And it's not always the same drop. It can vary depending on the class. Like the last boss has a unique wand and a unique bow and a unique sword that he drops. Like that's kind of nice because you can buy the best gear, then you can also get lucky.
Spoiler alert.
They all do. So does the first boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it adds so much to your experience
do
of
the
feeling
Tokachi
like you're doing something in the game. You know, it is the biggest disappointment that first time we took down Arbor Mouth or whatever his name is.
Thank you. I pronounce it well.
We took him down, and there was one
also
little
very
green,
humble.
one little green thing, and I'm like, all right, sweet, what is this? It's like essence. What does this do? And someone's like, oh, it's how you craft your in-game items. And I go, oh, that's neat. So what do I need? And they're like, oh, you need 6,000 indices and 596 of these. And I'm like, what?
You won't
Hold
feel
on,
accomplished
what?
at all. You'll just feel dead inside.
Especially
Yeah, like, I get
now that
nothing.
the only way to not bug it out is to do each single item into the crafter. Like, man.
And you wonder why people are trying to dupe stuff. I have no reason to
Yeah.
want to dupe anything in Ilysia. Even if I could, I don't really care. There's no reason to. I only need one of each item. Like, who cares?
So does
Besides
Meta's
your staff
character
and your
look like
wand.
does Meta's character look like a golf trainer or a tennis trainer? I'm trying to figure it out.
Those are two terrible options, and I despise both of them.
He looks like
He's
a
in
really
between
bad,
the two. He plays
really
both.
bad Sherpa. Yeah.
He plays racquetball.
I was just gonna say he's a squash trainer.
Yeah, so you should say something, right?
Can you? What about water polo? Can you name a
Croquet.
whiter sport,
No.
please?
No.
Cross.
Wait.
Lacrosse.
Oh no.
Yeah, lacrosse.
I can
No,
see
no,
lacrosse.
it's disc golf all the way.
Oh,
This
no.
golf? Nah.
I'm a frother guy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
That's
But
funny.
but anyways, but beyond the nostalgia, like I said earlier, to be able to basically be like a game tester is like something as a kid I would have loved to do. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I get to get in on a
yeah.
video game before everybody else can get in on it. Super fun for me.
Not Sermano. He's over here like, I'm not going to be an unpaid game tester.
I don't want to play it until I find it fun. Sorry.
No, and that's totally good.
We're all here like childhood dreams fulfilled. Sermano's like, nah, not for me, fam.
Hey, if they want to pay me to be a game tester, that is childhood dream territory, but I never dreamed about doing unpaid work.
My dream involves the cash. I need the cash for my dream.
But this is just random, but you guys were complaining about the audio for some characters or the rats and shit, but like I just was randomly thinking about it, but like to me now I'm actually thinking about I'm gonna try to hit him up like, yo, do you need audio? Because I would love to do voiceovers for anything, and like that would be next level.
The
Next
devs
level.
That would be fun.
I would
doing
love
this
to
super
do audio.
cheap, it seems. Well,
No,
they're-
you could
they're
tell there
being
was.
cheap, but
Yeah.
they're being smart. Like you don't necessarily need someone expensive to voice your characters necessarily. And the devs told, and I say that as someone who like this is super off topic, but like like I made all this stuff for my wedding with my wife. Like like not because like it's stuff like you can do yourself if you need to do yourself. And there's no reason not to. So like one of the devs voices like the NPCs. By the way. Like
but
they
you know
voice
what,
the
though?
Toka. He goes, I'm the Toka, and I'm thinking to myself, like, a grown man in a corner of a room, like, wait, which way's my mic? Which way's my mic? Which way's my
Yeah, but you know what? I got to say, though, Meta,
Toka.
me and you were standing with. Oh, my God. Yeah. She's retarded. Man. Meta, me and you were standing with Budo next to the NPC, and Budo was doing the voice like 10,000 times better than the NPC was.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was actually really surprised. Every time
And
Budo
I was
said,
like, Budo sounds like way, way better than the NPC that's talking. And afterwards, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? That actually does bring a lot to the table. Like when you have those little experiences where the people are actually really animated and doing it. Like I know it's on the cheap and like doing your voices or whatever, but like when it's done well or it's done professionally, it makes a difference, in my
I
opinion.
just want to do a dwarf that says,
Looking
"How are
down
you?"
at this chat here. Look at this guy.
I know
So,
Kitty gets
oh my
that one.
gosh. So, yes.
How are you?
How are you? The Pandian mentioned one of the Kickstarter rewards. So if you look through all their Kickstarter rewards, they outsource a ton of content to Kickstarters, which is one of the best ideas ever because people get to feel rewarded and they want to invest in this game.
Oh yeah.
And then the game gets
The
free
ultimate
content.
cosmetic.
Like,
It's the
oh yeah, the
ultimate
ult
cosmetic.
like I'm the voice of Magpie the Mage. How awesome
That's
is that?
cool. That is
But
cool.
yeah,
Like,
they
you imagine
end up,
running into the guy. He's like, imagine you ran into a guy. Okay,
How
so
much? How much, Kitty? You have that pulled up? I want to
actually, I
see.
want to know too.
so
Because
He
imagine
mentioned
you
it.
ran into the guy.
I
He's like, yeah, I'm
know
Shin from Zenith.
I know it
Like,
was I think it was the $200 tier
With bringing
is
people on
where
the
you're
street.
helping with voicing.
Yeah.
But I mean, they literally there was like a $600 or $700 tier where you get to help them breed animals and come up with new breeds of pets.
I
Like
care
that's
less
that.
about this than someone hearing my voice. I can't because I get to run
Agreed.
into them in game and be like, "Oh, you recognize my voice? It's because you heard it 3,000 times because you couldn't beat that quest."
You're like, hi Henry, and you're like, hey guys, I lost my staff. Like, do you think you could find it it's like out there?
B
I don't know,
took an arrow
man.
to a knee.
Go
Took
find
an
it.
arrow
Over
to
there.
the knee
Yeah,
guy.
man.
I took an arrow to the knee. I used to be an adventurer like you.
Or is it over there? Or is it over there? I'm not sure.
Something funny that doesn't bother me that should bother me a lot more. It bothers me about Zenith is there's a lore behind the game that you don't know. And I don't know anything about Ilysia. Where the fuck is Ilysia? Who are we? Like, what's happening?
Ilysia
Like, I'm a different.
does a better job. I have
Well,
to
I
say.
don't. What do you know about anything?
Yeah.
Do you know anything? Do you know who the
His
bad
character's
guys
just
are?
weak.
Why they're bad? Why are we killing all these tokas?
Wait.
We need the bell. That's why.
So I do. And the reason is because so for me personally, like I have ADHD, and when I logged into Zenith and I saw a giant wall of text, I was instantly like, fuck that shit. That's too much for me. I know that's gonna take me a good couple minutes to read. I'm good. I don't care that much. If it was important information, they'd put it somewhere that's easier to read or it'd be bolded. But when I went into Ilysia, and it's annoying at first that they make the text like scroll out. There's no way to like just click through it. But like Zelda does it too, and there's a reason
I feel
they
like
do
that's
it.
another kickback to other MMOs where
It
the
makes you
quest
read it.
text reads off slow, and you know everything about the quest you're doing, or you
But
just sit there
I
and you
know
find
it.
something
I
else to
read
do
it and
for
I
40
think to myself,
seconds.
why did I just read that? But like it's like your brain can't, especially in VR, it's like your brain can't, at least for me, can't like not read it as it appears in front of me if it's just one word at a
You're
time.
literally a captive audience. There's nothing you
I
can do
am.
until it's done.
Oh my gosh. And so I'm just like, so I don't want to ruin the lore. I'll ruin the story. I'm ahead of you guys. But I know something happens.
That's a good point. That's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, leave us in the dark for
volcano
now. We'll get there.
explodes.
I mean, it's not super great, but like it's not horrible.
So I've got like one other thing that seems interesting to talk about. With Zenith, my first week playing Zenith, I think I was in the headset probably 5 hours a night playing. How much have you guys been playing Ilysia every night?
Ilysia is a reverse burn for me. I just wanted to jump first. I'm sorry I've played more. I really wanted to.
Yes.
But no, it was a reverse burn. It started out so slow. I keep trying to get you guys to level up, though. Other than you.
I made it to level 5 on my second character. I made it to level 4. I lost track
because
of the
once
quest
you get to Fort Bullneath or whatever it's called, once you get to that place, you realize like the potential of the game. It's the first place Kitty has been to the city, but he hasn't like played the game there. But once you get to there, like it actually feels like they built a city. It's not just the same models as like all the other places. It feels kind of almost like you're in what's it called? Westrun in Skyrim, like that main city that everyone loved to play in, like the grassland area in the middle. It feels like built out. Like once they add stuff to it, like it'll feel more like a metro hub. Whereas Zenith City feels like a piece of dead garbage that there's nothing there for because they put it at the very start of the game. This is a city you have to get to. By the time you get there, it's worth being there. You know, people will keep going there. It's the hub for all of the endgame content. It's your base. You go back there, then you go to all the endgame content. But there's an actual city. Why doesn't Ruler's Reach have a city area? Because they know all of the endgame players are chilling there. Why? You know, and you can see where there would be a store. There's player runs. There's easily a guild hall there. Like there's a bunch of big spaces they could use there. You guys should check it out.
Yeah.
I'll take you there if you log in if you want at some point, just so you can see it if nothing else. It's cool.
And break in for a second. We have been doing this for 2 hours now. I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I don't think. I'm having fun just chatting and talking. But you know, as things are going, y'all can drop out whenever you want to. But we have been here for 2 hours, so technically we should be done. So you know.
Fine.
If anyone wants to take off, feel free to take off.
I am gonna get out of here. I gotta get ready for work tomorrow and eat some dinner. So I will catch everybody in the virtual world soon enough.
Well, thanks for jumping in with us tonight.
Yeah.
It's
Last
always
to show up, first to leave. We see how
right.
it is.
Yeah.
Busy boy.
See how it is.
You guys
Wait,
later.
I gotta give you.
Pierre's got adult stuff to do.
My character. I need to zoom out.
So
this is for you down there.
I just wanted to mention
For
that
you
for
over there.
next episode, we ought to
man.
get some clips of Dash Dash. I think we're gonna have some Dash Dash clips for you guys. I think we should get some Knock clips because I got that game, so I think we're gonna have some people playing Knock together, and we got to get some clips
Knock
of that.
is a lot of fun.
Yeah, and then maybe some of that Vox Machina or whatever, because that looked pretty fun too.
Yes, we're gonna start playing that soon.
We gotta form
So-
some teams
Okay.
on Knock. Knock
There
will be a
are-
lot of fun as a sport.
Before the stream just falls to a shambles. Yeah, I think it is important to
Too
mention
late.
once again that we that we are doing the what are we calling it? The Crimson Racing League.
Fuck yeah.
That
Yeah.
is open to everyone that wants to participate. You do have to get to our Discord in order to register for the racing. We are going to do a whatever retail release game you want, either on Steam or on Oculus Store, whatever Quest calls it. We'll do a retail release game for whoever does win that circuit. I know my plan is when I win, I'm just going to throw that back into the pot so that the next circuit we can do an even bigger prize and reward for it.
Nice.
Yep.
But
And
there's totally there's a game out there at stakes for whoever takes us down. It's going to be 4 races only. We're doing 4. We're doing 8.
I think we're
Not races, but nights.
cycles. Yeah, I think that we had talked about doing like a 2-month cycle, like once a week. So probably 8 races.
Okay, so 8 races to a season.
And the reason that because Bonley and me, not like Bonley's decision entirely, which is I like because he's running this show because he's the head racer, but he got everyone into it. Let's be real, but is because we want to give people a chance to like get better at the game, and doing it once a week gives people a chance to do that, so they don't just feel stopped. Because I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to log in for the first time and go up against Bonley and Sormato and instantly be like, "These guys have played a bit more than I have."
And one of the things I do like about Dash Dash is even if you're really good, right before you take that last turn to win, you get hit with an item and you end up in 8th place.
I mean,
so
everyone's been doing
there's
Mario Kart and still won. There's always the chance. chance. Yeah.
They have a great way of balancing skill and luck in that game. It's a really, really good balance where I feel like almost in Mario Kart, it really leans more towards the luck. And, like you said, you can get the missile and just shoot to the front. Like, you have to be skilled in this game to have an opportunity to win. If you're not skilled at all, you won't have an opportunity to win. But once you're skilled, it really does depend on how well you use the items and the timing that you get them. And, it becomes nuanced at the end on once everybody's good, what's going to be that little bit to win is going to have a lot to do with luck and skill.
Yeah. We've had so many photo finishes.
And I would just like to say
that I see you, Pandian, over there in the chat bar. Knock is a kick, and we should definitely form a knock league because it would be a great idea. So, guys, anyone out there who's listening, wait one second. Just wanted to test the mic. So, anyone out there who's listening, we should go on knock. It would be a great time.
Anyway, so guys, I just wanted to get that message out there real quick. Let's go back to Crimson Racing.
I mean, that's about it for Crimson Racing. I just posted a link to the Discord for the Crimson Racing League.
And we are going to be live streaming them, right? We're going to be live streaming the races.
So that's going to be our next section of content on this channel is we're going to be live streaming the racing. I don't know if we'll probably look at getting some commentating going on or something during the races. So it's kind of a little more fun.
Yeah. You know what we should make? You know what we should do?
Does Budo have something to say?
Yeah, this is random. This is random. But I always look up new Oculus news before we do the show. And something that they were saying is that they're going to be trying to make better recording easier for Oculus, even when it's not hooked up to a computer. Be making it like 16-9. So, you already said it. No, yeah.
What?
That's cool.
Yeah. So anyways, but they said it's like maybe like May, so it's still a ways off. But they're trying to make the a proper rectangular format for Oculus recording and make it higher quality. So that's coming.
Nice. That's good. That is good. Yeah. Very good. Cool. Well,
good stream tonight, guys. Thanks for having me on again. This has been fun like usual.
Yeah, man. Thanks for joining.
Have a
good rest of your night.
Every Wednesday at 9:30.
We finally get rid of the hater.
Eastern. You guys have fun talking about your favorite game, Ilysia.
Oh, and he just bolts before you get over.
Oh man.
Yeah. So knock. I'm looking at it. I feel like I'm gonna throw up if I try to play it.
I gotta tell you, Dash makes me a little nauseous. Knock doesn't bother me at all. And I'm telling you, I think it's in the movement mechanic. So what you do is, I wish I could show you my arms. You kind of grab the ground and pull yourself, and it's kind of like a whip. So because you feel that you're pulling yourself, it's almost like your brain and this is my theory, like your brain thinks like in real life, I could pull myself in like slingshot, right? Like the kind of somewhat makes sense. Even though I'm not continuing to move afterwards, there's that forward momentum. And so in Knockby, as it plays on that, it's kind of like you're pushing yourself around the room. You're just doing it quickly. It really doesn't bother me. Like I'm telling you, it's also, there's not a lot. I think one thing they did, and one of the reasons why it doesn't bother me, there's nothing like below you. It's just like a flat surface with grid lines. So you can, there's not a lot for your brain to focus on as you're moving around. Other than the ball and the other players.
What's retail on Knock?
It's just $10. It's cheap. It's
$10. Okay, that's not bad.
No, so I'm telling you, like, it's no, I wouldn't have bought it if it wasn't like I just bought it like in a 3-game buy that I did for like less than $30, just like 3 cheap. See which one was fun. It was a good one.
And it's essentially,
dude, it's so.
What's the name?
Rocket
You guys,
Rocket League,
if you want competition, I have not had competition in VR like this. I saw a review. There's like we could be looking at Game of the Year, and like after playing it, like it could challenge Beat Saber for like a sport. Like it could get like it doesn't have
Really?
to be super intense, but it can get really intense.
Even compared to what's the one where you throw the disc, you're dragging yourself around.
Echo
Echo.
VR.
Echo.
I haven't
That's
tried
the one
that
that
one.
it seemed like
But
it looked the most like to me.
I'm
That's
telling
what
you,
I
like
was
the
thinking.
physics engine in this game works solid, and
Okay.
it's fun. It's a lot of fun, but there's a big learning curve, and the people who are good at this game like are really really good at this game, and we will lose
Yeah.
all the time.
And-
But we can form teams and
and
always
not
play on the
to-
same team.
Not to knock. Okay, I'm sorry, that was easy.
Oh,
But-
the fun.
yeah, but since we're doing the racing league,
Oh, I thought he left. I thought he dipped out on us. He's
No.
like, not to knock knock, but I'm out.
but we got the racing league, so that'd actually make a good plan. Is like do the racing league, and then after that, try to
Well,
do.
so
it with,
I was
with
thinking
knock.
about going simultaneous because the racing is 1 day a week, right?
Yeah.
I
One
feel like
day a
we
week.
should wrap up the stream. By the way, I feel like we're no longer talking about.
Oh yeah, should we just end? Should...
Guys,
life and shit.
This was planned. We're so well.
Well, I
thought
know.
out. This is such a clear-cut ending.
I know our first two shows, we had a really clear plan on what we wanted to do with those shows. On this one, I really just know we all had a lot to talk about with what we've done in Ilysia.
Yeah,
And so I was just like, you know what? Let's just open up and talk.
that's a good plan.
The
It was
VR news this week has been really light. There's no new games coming out anytime soon. And I mean, it just made sense to just free ball the whole time. But
Yep. And I want to throw two other PvPs out, like PvP-ish or group kind of games I want for the crew eventually. Like he said, Vox Machina, I think is going to be fun. I know Kitty's not into it, but you said you're going to try it anyway because you like mechs.
$30, dude.
It's so cool.
$30.
It's so cool, man.
I'm not gonna lie, $30 on a VR game makes me feel like it better be a must-have game. Like I compare games to like a sacred few VR games that are a game that like every VR owner should have because there's a lot of like iffy VR games, but there's a few really good ones.
Well, I bet you it'll have less glitches than Zenith for $30.
Oh, I don't doubt that. But Zenith,
So,
for
it'll be
$30,
running.
And
good.
like, what, is
It
someone
looks
talking
like
about
they're
now?
putting a lot of polish on it too.
Yeah,
It
well, the
looks like
game
it's
was
gonna
out
be
for a while.
great.
It was an exclusively PvP game, and people loved it. But
Oh,
it was only
this is
PvP.
interesting.
And
This is
then
interesting.
they went back because people liked it so much, but they were complaining they wanted a campaign mode and they wanted a co-op. So they went back and they created co-op and a full campaign mode and then re-released it on the Oculus. So they have a lot of different specifics in their PvP. Apparently, there's a lot of variations, and you can go up to 8 versus 8, so 16 people. That's pretty substantial.
Yeah, that sounds
so
wild.
yeah, so there's a lot to do with that one. And the other one I was thinking could be fun for us would be After the Fall. It's another expensive
I've
one, but it
heard
looks
some
fucking
iffy
awesome.
things about After the Fall. I've heard direct
Really?
feedback from people who have played it
Yeah,
that
what'd you-
say they like it, but then I start reading through the reviews, and when I read through the reviews, I usually just like read like, guys, I read a lot of reviews. I read like the first like 60 reviews. If there's only 100 reviews for the game, I'll read all of them. I want to see what people genuinely think, And with VR stuff, it's not really like Amazon. You can tell if someone was paid. Most people are telling you the problems with the games, even though they're giving 4 and 5 stars. Like Zenith reviews, like this game has so many bugs, 5 stars. But
I would still give Zenith 5 stars, but
That's
that's
my
my
point.
feelings.
Exactly. So with After the Fall, if you read all of them, a lot of people are like, it's really iffy in the reviews. A lot of people say like, there's not enough content.
They did just release a new area. So I don't know if
Oh,
there's more.
did
Yeah, within the last week, they released a new area, which kind of got me like, okay, because that's what I thought. I was like, I know there's 4 areas, and I know the spawns come from all different locations. But I was like, yeah, it seems like it would kind of get boring if it's not enough stuff going on. but they did just release a new area, and if they're going to consistently release new
If they're
areas,
going to consistently do it, then yeah, whatever.
yeah,
That's
it's
different.
worth looking into because it definitely looks like, besides the content, that it's just a really solid game. It looks
Yep.
pretty good.
That
Yeah.
is 100%. Always the negative reviews. Always read the negative reviews. You know they weren't paid. So
Yeah.
1 to 3 star reviews are the most honest things you'll see in your entire life.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
No one was
Okay.
paid and gives a 3-star review.
Right.
Speaking
So-
of, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No.
No,
I was going to
speaking-
bullshit.
I just wanted to just ask because I mentioned it on I think the last episode, but speaking of massive multiplayer online games, like the most massive one that's almost not multiplayer because it's too massive is No Man's Sky. I know Bonely doesn't, but do Kid
It's
Meta
not
do
on
you?
Quest.
Yeah,
Okay.
You have to have Steam, and
Yeah,
my
yeah.
computer can't handle it.
Okay.
I don't think.
So it's a love-hate. I do love No Man's Sky.
Exactly. Yeah.
But there's no way I would play it once a day. I mean, even now, I think I probably play it maybe twice a month. And
Yeah,
it's really
no,
just to see what's
100%.
changed. Because they're one company that, I mean, the disappointment out of that game because of their marketing, like
Oh my
their
God.
day one
They-
was just horrible.
Leave them alone.
See you, Pandian.
They've already
Thanks
got
for
so
hanging out with
much hate. Oh man.
So it's really
feel
cool
it,
with them because you really do see them responding to the community constantly. And as soon as VR dropped for it, I was in VR playing it. The first time you reach behind your back and pull out your scanner, you're like, oh, this feels cool.
Yeah.
They really got the VR mechanics down pretty good for that game. And you
Yeah.
still get that PC quality content. It doesn't feel like a mobile game.
Well,
So I love that.
what was the disappointment as someone that hasn't played it?
Oh my gosh. I was
So
looking forward to
they-
that game more than anything else ever. I don't go to my place of employment and tell everyone that they need to play this game, but months before it came out, I was like, guys, have you seen the greatest game of all time? You were supposed to be able to blast off your planet, go out into space, fight all kinds of other people, PvP out in space, fly to the planets you could see, go to any planet you could see in the sky, in the skybox above you could just get up and go there. You just fly your plane. Every planet you could find and claim your own stuff, and you could meet other players and trade with them and form alliances and have different with the different races that were out in space. You could piss one off and they would come attack you, and you could interrupt space battles between the flight the two sides, pick a side. None of that shit's in the game. The game is go find, go and collect. The only thing there is you could go to different planets.
So their biggest selling point for the game was you will never see the same thing twice.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
everything is
crazy.
procedurally generated, so the terrain is supposed to be different on every planet. The animals and the creatures you run into,
forever.
it's all procedurally generated. And as you discover this stuff, you get to name it, you get to claim it. I'm the first person on this planet. This planet's now called
Once
Kitty's
you
Butt.
name something, Bonely, it would be that name for everyone who played the game everywhere. That's why it was an online game. Oh yeah, you were supposed to. So here we go. I watched through multiple YouTube videos, but people get pissed about this. This was my number one letdown. So Bonely, I just explained how important PvP was to someone who was excited about the game, the multiplayer aspect of the multiplayer game, right? Because you had to be online to play the game, right?
Right.
So people kept saying to the developers, I can't run into anyone. They're like, oh, it's because the space is so vast.
Where is
You guys
everybody?
you just aren't running into people because there's so much space in between. No, 2 people found the same planet because it's the same name for everyone, stood in front of each other. You can't see other people at all. there is no multiplayer. The only multiplayer that existed, I think they've put it in since, but the only multiplayer that existed was that you could name things and other people would see
people
those
just
names.
see the name. Oh no, that's terrible.
But again, we're talking launch issues. Since then,
Since
It
then,
is so much fun to play, but it is one of
No,
those
I've
games
heard.
that I can only take in small doses.
Yeah,
But it is a
Yeah.
lot.
But the reason I asked is that I've never gotten to play with somebody who I like knew, and it'd just be fun to try.
Well,
to
that's
hook up
weird
in that game.
because it doesn't. Now, see, that's two very odd comments because it's like you're saying you've never really played with people in it, but it seems like the game was made to be being played.
No,
with.
That's what
not
they said.
really, not really. Like,
They fixed the game.
yeah, but also not really because one of the biggest things that they advertised about the game is that it's the biggest game map ever, which it is.
Yeah, so
there are more
they-
planets than you could ever visit in your lifetime.
Yes,
Like
this
you
is a
could-
fact.
You
Actually,
cannot visit every planet, so everybody's spread out in different places, and it's kind of crazy.
like here,
but
one
the
second.
recent
numbers what's impressive.
expedition, the recent expedition missions, you start at the same place. So it would be fun to start an expedition with somebody else. So, and that was all I was going to.
So,
And that is
they
fun at some
advertised
point.
that there were 18 quintillion unique worlds that you could visit, and each one had like the scale of an actual world, like a planet, like Earth.
That seems dumb.
Yeah. So the problem, so where No Man's Sky is infamous in gaming history is that they mismarketed. They marketed extremely well, but they marketed the wrong type of game. They're an adventure exploration game, and that's a whole genre. But they're not a combat competitive game. They're not a multiplayer RPG like Mass Effect. That's not what they are, and that's what they advertised as.
Right. So they branded
But-
themselves wrong.
Exactly.
Now, let me ask you a question real quick, Kitty. So if they made all these corrections with it, why is it still not appealing to you?
It's appealing to me. It's really fun. It looks great. It's a beautiful game. Every time I play it, I'm probably in it for about 5 hours, and I enjoy myself the whole time.
Yeah,
it
looks like
is
a great game.
It is one of those games that is if you're playing with, back to Budo's comment actually, if you're playing with people you're friends with, it's a whole lot of fun because you've got your own ship, your own stuff you've done. You've built your own base. There's all kinds of crazy stuff you can do. And you actually can take people to your planet at that point, And he mentioned the expeditions. And you get on this expedition and I don't know what the cap is, but I mean, I've been on one that felt like there was 80 or 90 people doing it.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, you're on this planet in the same general area as just a ton of people. And you're all competing for the same resources and the same... it's hard to explain it if you haven't played the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Just look at it.
But
Yeah.
I have to warn you, you do have to have a pretty powerful PC to run it. Like
No, I'm gonna check it out. Like, look at some videos about it. So I
Check
can
Oh no, it's probably one of the best exploration games.
If you've got
Xbox
Xbox Game Pass, I am pretty sure they've got it on Xbox Game Pass still. So
yeah,
you can
it wasn't made as a
or you
it
can
wasn't
get
made as a
the
VR
Xbox
game,
version.
but it's probably an amazing VR game after they made it.
It's one of the best. Like we've had the AAA discussion a few times, and it wasn't made for VR, but the way they put in VR mechanics, it feels very good. When you're flying the ship, it's a little weird because you lock your hand to the stick and then you kind of just do whatever. But I mean, it is pretty well done for a game that wasn't born in VR.
Yeah, I had read they got a whole team to just totally focus on VR, and they really were like, okay, we're gonna redo so many of these mechanics, and I'm impressed because I played it before it was in VR, and then when I got my headset, I was like, at the time my Quest couldn't connect to the computer, Link hadn't been created, but like I thought it could be in the future. I'm like, oh, one of these days I'll get to play No Man's Sky in VR, and it was like just so satisfying. Yeah,
that's neat.
But it's a really good example of how a AAA game can come in and get a dedicated team to make it good. Like I did the Fallout VR, and I felt like they did terrible with that. And I did the Skyrim VR. It was better, but still felt like this is a console game that I'm playing in a headset.
How about Resident Evil? Did you guys try that?
I heard that's
Resident Evil 4. I loved it.
I heard it's the best VR game. I haven't played it though.
Yeah, I and to be honest, I didn't play the original Resident Evil 4, but that was kind of a fun reason to play it. It's like, oh, this is a classic game that I should have played back in the day. I'm gonna play it now on VR, and it was fun. Yeah, I loved it.
Well, I'm so looking forward to them making Grand Theft Auto. So if they do that in VR, that's
Holy
going to be
shit.
our crew. Our crew in Grand Theft Auto would really be something.
Hey, let's go buck 'em up.
Yeah.
Oh god.
But was there anything else? Anything else about Ilysia?
No,
Yes, one thing actually.
Uh oh. There we go.
I was gonna bring it up, but I'm happy that you brought it up first. So, about the fast travel. So, do we want or do we not want fast travel? And then I want to give my opinion on this.
I want flight paths, and I want a map that tells me where I am. If I don't want fast travel the way it exists in Zenith, where you don't lose anything by doing it. I want you to have to make a choice between walking there or giving something up to be there.
Yes.
Yes.
But it should. And that's where I think they're doing a good job with their currency. I don't know why Zenith decided to go with the idea of we'll start with inflation instead of build to it. They chose inflation first and made Zen worth like nothing. It doesn't feel like that in Ilysia. Even at like level 19 playing the game forever, I still only have like 100 gold, and that's still not nearly enough for what I need. I can't really even buy potions because potions are 20 or 25. Like, it's not that much, and I use all of those in one fight with the dungeon boss, so then I'm broke again. So
that's also your difference between an Asian developer and a stateside developer.
But,
so there's a literal difference in the currency that they use. But I agree with you. It feels like I have never cared about my Zen. Never once have I cared about Zen.
They made they made items not cost enough to keep up with the inflation.
Yeah.
This is where I agree with you. They modeled it after like the Japanese yen or whatever currency they want. It feels like it's the I'm saying because of it's Zen. And so it's yen, and it's a JRPG, so I feel like that's fair. But they didn't adjust the items to reflect that. Like the flower shouldn't be 40 Zen if I have 80,000 or 300,000. Like 40 doesn't feel appropriate. I could buy 800. It's like, who cares? Whereas in Ilysia, the currency to item difference in costs, I feel like I'm actually losing something, and it takes a while to get more.
Well, it makes everything feel like you're investing. Your questing is actually getting you somewhere. When I was doing quests in Zenith, I never felt like I was progressing in anything. Like, I'm making experience points. That's all questing was.
I have, like I said, I'm level 19. I have 250,000 experience out of 180 to get to level 20. That's a lot of experience. That's like probably like 500,000 total because it doubles or almost doubles each time you need more experience for the next level. So like around 500k experience. I did a quest that gave me 30 XP this morning because it gave me 10 gold. It's like, oh shit, 10 gold. Like, I gotta do that.
But you know what? Just to go to your original point about the fast travel, I said it a couple times in the show, but I think the fast travel is not necessary at all if they do the mounts correctly. If they do the mounts correctly, then they don't need to correct the movement. They don't need to correct the map. They don't need to do any of that.
I also don't want the world to feel small. Because in Zenith, the world only feels as big as a single area. That map is actually fairly large, but the flight lets you move. I mean, not like too quickly, but if they're going to make the world as small as they did with fast travel and everything else and not populate the rest of it. Let me just say this. Ilysia is large, but outside the roads, everything works. In Zenith, we've all seen where you fall through the map because the map doesn't work where you're not supposed to be. Ilysia doesn't care if you're not where you're supposed to be. It still works, even if there's not much there, which is kind of important for immersion. Zenith feels like like a pathway. It doesn't feel like a
Yeah.
square box of territory I can move throughout.
agree.
It feels like a maze that I'm supposed to go through that's predetermined.
Yes.
Which
You
feels
know what?
wrong.
To that point, that's so true, because when I was in there yesterday, it was like I made a turn off of the beaten path, and then I was just in the woods, and
Yeah,
I'm
you
looking
expect
around,
it to
and
be
I'm
in the
like,
middle of nowhere.
yeah, and I'm like, wow, I'm like just randomly in the woods, and I thought about Zenith, and I was like, there's no way to really get lost in there. Like, there's no way to lose you're always sort of in a
In a-
directional kind
Yes.
of thing.
And
Yeah.
see, in a 2D game, that's a good thing. But in a VR game, that's not a good thing. You want to feel like you could get lost.
Correct. I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, that's a good point. And maybe I thought of a mixture. Like, it'd be interesting if, again, you may had to make it be valuable. Like, maybe those map pieces that you buy, maybe you could buy fast travel, or you choose, no, I'm not buying fast travel, I'm buying a mount. And then you have to
So-
choose, what do you invest in? And because both could have their,
So
you know.
you guys know The Witcher 3 won like Game of the Year.
I know what it is, but I didn't play it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of people really like that game. I'm gonna see if I can, real quick. Yeah. Hey, it's my favorite game. But, their way they did fast travel is they put up the game. I think is 3 or 4 different maps. They're really large maps, like open world areas. But to get to each one, you can't run to them. You have to fast travel to the next area. But then it's another large map. If a VR game did that, I would hate it. And Zenith does that constantly.
We're getting played out. We're getting played out.
I'll wrap it up. Kitty, wait. Kitty, please let me finish.
we went an hour over our normal
Good
thing.
finish.
Okay. Oh, fuck. Guys, it's been a great show. Y'all have a good night.
Yeah, thanks everyone for showing up. We're at 2.5 hours. Like, my feed is starting to glitch. We've been here for so long. But yeah, thanks everyone for showing up. We'll
To
be
be
back here
continued.
next Wednesday. Maybe we'll have some more Ilysia content.
Talk about these fast travels.
We're going to be having fun in Zenith this weekend. Again, check the Discord for the events. We're going to be doing World Boss on Saturday and Overworld Dungeon on Sunday, right?
Yep, that's right. Or no. Sunday is Queen's something. Queen's Reach?
Yeah, Queen's Path.
Yeah, Queen's Path.
Queen's Path. So that's the Overworld Dungeon, the big dome in
Yeah.
Zenith.
Oh yeah. No,
You know, like
So
a lot of people, there's not a lot you're gonna get out of it, like item wise, because they made that dungeon not give you much. But not a lot of people have actually really done
it's
it.
content
It's
most of us
different.
haven't done often.
Yeah.
So Saturday, we'll get in Saturday night and just do the world boss over and over, and then hang on the platform and bullshit for hours. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Apparently, there's
And
gonna
then
be people twerking there, according to chat. But that's
people
great.
twerking, yes. So we'll be back in Zenith 2 nights at least. Get us away from Ilysia, and it'll be fun. Otherwise, I know every night I'll be stuck in Ilysia again. I gotta hit level cap before the alpha ends. That's my only go.
Damn it, you're right. I gotta do that.
You do. You don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, there's no more helping out you little people anymore.
Yeah, I'll help anyone out who's trying to level up because I've already hit level cap. I'll kind of just do that from here on out. But the thing is, I can't help too much because if I do damage, you don't get the XP.
shameless self promotion. I've got to do the first dungeon.
Me too. Me
So-
too.
I just helped Fink and Archmage.
So what are we doing right after this? Or
You want me to
guys
help
wanna
get the
jump in
dungeon?
and get that dungeon done?
If you want, I'll
Eat that
do
shit
it
right now.
Udo's like, I want to go to bed.
No, I do, but I also do want to do that really bad.
You get a unique dungeon drop.
All right. So get on our Discord. Another announcement. We've got the guild website actually up. It's more of a placeholder than anything, but we're going to have the schedule on there. Links to watch this show, links to watch our racing. His wife.
I told
told you to take out the trash. Why is the trash still sitting here?
There's my daughter. Relax.
So I don't know if anyone here watching or not watches sports. I'm going to disclaimer up front. I don't. But to compare it to when I did, Crimson is no, I'm ending it. Crimson is your home team. Crimson Council here, baby.
That's right.
The guilds are starting to be treated like teams over on Zenith. We need to show up in force and show them that we still own this shit.
Get back on our shard and make sure they know Crimson Council, baby. That's where it's at.
Oh snap!
Council's Corner. Thanks for joining, people.
But we love all the other guilds. Everyone, it's great. But
we do,
you know,
but we have some guild pride, and we're the best. I don't want to tell you.
Oh yeah. So we'll see you guys in game. Anyone out there in Twitch world, we're about to jump in Ilysia. I'm guessing room 3. Room 3? 3?
We'll confirm is right.
Don't tell the masses.
All 5 of them watching right now. 2 of which are, 3 of which are definitely in our guild.
On round 3.
Like I keep watching Z Storm. He's been streaming like crazy, and he's fun to watch. Like he's interesting. He's kind of like crazy, but it's been fun to watch him. And I wish we were that interesting. Is all I'm saying. But you know, I just feel like I really have so many things I could just keep going on and on about, and I could just talk.
You're gonna play yourself out. Play yourself out. Yeah.
So you guys have a great night. Thanks for joining us. And we will see you next week.
He pieced himself out. We're still live, but
yeah. Oh no, I don't even know. He probably has no idea what's going on.
Oh no, he's fucking with us. He's a ghost. Oh no, am I gonna be a ghost? Oh no. I was backstage. It was so cool. I'm back. I'm live on air.
Just gonna screw the
I was hidden behind the stage.
Is this what happens when you go 2.5 hours?
Yeah.
We just lose it? Okay.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
All right, for real this time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.